Chapter 2871 Despicable Supreme Takes Action. Please visit Oxford. Omicronym to enjoy reading. I don't need to tell you how I obtained the Supreme Universe. You don't have the right to know. Ouyang Xiangxiang said indifferently. The Supreme Holy Sun rolled his eyes and suddenly had an idea. He shouted, I know, you guys must have been lucky to have found the burial ground of the planet Devourer and dug up the bodies of many gold-tier planet Devourers. That's why you were able to get so many heads of the planet Devourers. And look, these 3 heads are shriveled, caused by the loss of too much essence. This must be the gold planet Devourer that has been dead for many years. Finally, the Supreme Holy Sun pointed at the heads of the 3 mutated golden Devourers. The head of the mutated golden Devourer looked like it had been dead for many years because of the purple copper coffin. The Supreme Holy Sun's words made many people come to a realization. So that's how it is. No, that must be it. They're lucky to have found the graveyard where the planet is buried. That's right. Otherwise, if the Supreme Holy Sun could only kill 1 gold planet Devourer, how could they have killed 14? It's like a fantasy. Yes, I guess that's how they got their bronze planet Devourers and silver planet Devourers. My luck is too good. The crowd was in a heated discussion. On the other hand, Ouyang Xiangxiang, Kong Chong, and Lu Jie's faces turned ugly. Who said we've come across the burial ground of the planet Devourer? I'm telling you, we killed these planet Devourers with our own hands. Ouyang Xiangxiang shouted. You killed it yourself? Haha, Ouyang Qingxiang, do you have the strength to do so? It's you? Or Lu Ming? Aren't you afraid that people will laugh at you? Supreme Universe sneered. He did not believe that Ouyang Qingxiang, Lu Ming, and the rest could kill so many planet Devourers. You're making wild guesses. Supreme Elder, you can announce the scores now. Ouyang Qingxiang coldly snorted, then looked at Supreme Being Dong. Supreme Martial Artist Dong's face was somewhat gloomy. However, he could only announce Ouyang Xiangxiang's score at this moment. Ouyang Xiangxiang, a total of 14 golden Devourer heads, 20 silver Devourer heads, and 101 silver Devourer heads, a total of 801 points. The Supreme Martial Artist announced. Everyone's heart was in turmoil. 801 points, almost 600 more than the Supreme Holy Sun. Such a high score made the competition this time simple and confusing. Perhaps, Ouyang Qingxiang would be able to use her advantage in this round to obtain the final victory. Alright, the first round is over. Next, let's move on to the second round. The Grandmaster's voice rang out, and his eyes flickered with a scheming light as he said, the second round is very simple. The 3 of you, 12 people, will go up to the fighting stage together. It will be a chaotic battle between the 3 sides. Whoever remains on the fighting stage will be the winner. The winner will be the future Zongzi. As soon as he said that, many people were stunned. Ouyang Qingxiang's grandfather was even more furious. He stepped forward and said, Paragon move? What's the meaning of this? The rules of the second round are inappropriate. Inappropriate? What's inappropriate? Supreme Martial Artist Dong sneered. Nonsense, of course it's inappropriate. This way, the winner will be decided in the second round. What's the point of the first round then? As I said before, we will combine the points from both rounds. The one with the highest points will be the future Zongzi. Ouyang Qingxiang's grandfather retorted loudly. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the rest also looked gloomy. The actions of the Supreme Martial Artist were clearly biased towards the Supreme Martial Artist universe. He had used this rule because he saw that the Supreme Universe was too far behind in points in the first round. If he combined the points of the 2 rounds, the Supreme Universe might not be able to compete with Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. In this way, the first round of the competition was meaningless. I've said before that the second round will be based on an arena tournament, combining the points from both rounds. However, I think that's more inappropriate. The future Zongzis must have the strongest combat strength. The weaker one will be chosen as a Zongzi. Taking over the Kong-Xian sect in the future will only make the Kong-Xian sect weaker and weaker. Only the strongest person can lead the Kong-Xian sect to become the strongest in the future. The Supreme Martial Artist said. The Supreme Martial Artist is moving. You're quibbling, Ouyang Qingxiang's grandfather shouted angrily. What excuse? However, in the first round, Ouyang Qingxiang, Lu Ming, and the rest did not rely on their own strength to hunt and obtain so many points. They were lucky and obtained the burial ground of a planet devourer. This is not the purpose of the test at all. If you want to count them by points, that's fine. It'll only be meaningful if Ouyang Qingxiang and the others' points in the first round are cleared to 0. Supreme Martial Artist Dong sneered. Supreme Martial Artist, what makes you think that Xiang and the others got their points by luck and not by killing with their strength? Ouyang Qingxiang's grandfather shouted. Supreme move was despicable. Previously, the Supreme Holy Son's tone only said that he guessed that Ouyang Qingxiang and the rest had obtained the burial ground of the planet devourer. However, Supreme Move directly asserted that Lu Ming and the rest had obtained the burial ground of the planet devourer and did not rely on their own strength. He rejected the results of Lu Ming and the rest. Ouyang Xiangxiang, Kong Chong, and Lu Jie were all furious. Kill them with their own strength? Can they kill 14 gold planet devourers? If they were able to kill 14 golden planet devourers with their true strength, then I, the Supreme One, would be able to write my name backwards. Supreme Martial Artist Dong sneered. Ouyang Qingxiang's grandfather was furious, but he had nothing to say. In fact, he also felt that Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the rest had also obtained the burial ground of the planet devourer. Therefore, he could not refute it at the moment. I agree with the Supreme Elder's suggestion. At this moment, a voice suddenly rang out, attracting everyone's attention. Everyone's eyes turned to the person who spoke. It's Lu Ming. He actually agrees with the Supreme Elder's opinion. He probably has a guilty conscience and knows that he didn't get the points in the right way, so he agreed. That's for sure. In guessing that he doesn't dare to offend the Supreme Holy Son and the Supreme Doyen. Many people were guessing. The person who spoke just now was naturally Lu Ming. You agree? The Supreme Martial Artist also looked at Lu Ming. To be honest, he was also a little surprised that Lu Ming would agree. That's right, I agree. I think what the Supreme Elder said makes sense. Since it's a Zongzi contest, strength should be the deciding factor. Lu Ming smiled. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang was anxious and quickly sent a message to Lu Ming. If they followed the Supreme Martial Artist's method, then the advantage they had built up in the first round would be completely useless. Chapter 2872 Joining Hands. Please visit Oxford. Omicronym to enjoy reading. Don't worry, trust me. Lu Ming smiled and sent a voice transmission to Ouyang Qingxiang. Lu Ming's words made the others look dumbfounded. Some of them looked puzzled while others sneered. Alright, since you've agreed to it, let's do it this way. Ouyang Qingxiang, Sacred Son of Reflection, do you have any objections? The Supreme Martial Artist said. I have no objections. Ouyang Xiangxiang's eyes flickered. In the end, she nodded in agreement and chose to believe Lu Ming. Moreover, Lu Ming's strength had improved greatly this time. He might be able to fight against the Supreme Holy Son. I don't have any objections either. The Sacred Son of Reflection also nodded. In the first round, his points were last. Whether it was compared to the Supreme Holy Son or Lu Ming and the others, the difference was too great. This change would be beneficial to him. If he were to fight with his own strength, he might be able to fight with the Supreme Holy Son if he gathered the strength of the other 3 Holy Sons and Holy Virgins. How could he not agree? Brother, you see, they themselves have already agreed. Are you still going to object? The Supreme Martial Artist's gaze shifted to Ouyang Qingxiang's grandfather. Ouyang Qingxiang's grandfather was against it, but since Ouyang Qingxiang and the others had agreed, he couldn't say anything more. He could only keep quiet with a gloomy face. Alright, then it's decided. You guys can go up the stage and fight. The Supreme Martial Artist announced. During this entire process, Dragon Boat Mountain didn't say anything, as if they didn't want to interfere. Buzz, buzz, and NBSP whoosh. In a flash, the Supreme Holy Son, the Transient Light Holy Son, Lu Ming, and the others all rushed up to the fighting ring. 4 people from each side stood in 3 different directions of the fighting ring, forming a triangular formation. The competition began. The Supreme Martial Artist announced. However, none of the three parties moved. All three parties wanted to wait for the other two parties to make the first move so that they could reap the benefits. No one would make the first move to help others. For a moment, the three parties were sizing each other up and confronting each other. Everyone around the fighting ring held their breath. They understood that none of the three parties would easily make a move. However, once they did, they would use a thunderous strike and erupt into an astonishing battle. Everyone was looking forward to it. The Supreme Saint had a calm smile on his face as his gaze swept across Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, the transient light Saint's son, and the others. Among these people, the only one that he was slightly afraid of was Lu Ming. Lu Ming always gave her an unfathomable feeling. He was the only person he valued. As for the others, he didn't even put them in his eyes. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, why don't we join forces and blast the floating light down first? Then, we'll decide who's the winner. What do you think? Suddenly, the Supreme Holy Sun sent a message to Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. Let's join forces first? Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes flashed as she considered the possibility of this suggestion. If they worked together with the Supreme Saint Sun to eliminate the transient light Saint Sun's side, they would have to face the Supreme Saint's challenge alone. It would be impossible to find anyone to work with. Ouyang Qingxiang was initially thinking of teaming up with the Sacred Sun of Reflection to deal with the Supreme Being together. Then they would have a showdown. However, she was afraid that the Sacred Sun of Reflection would team up with the Supreme Sacred Sun to deal with them first. Thus, she hesitated. All right, I promise you. Lu Ming responded directly. Ouyang Xiangxiang's gaze flickered, but she did not object. She could only choose to believe Lu Ming now. All right. The Supreme Saint Sun's eyes flickered as he looked at the transient light Saint Sun. He suddenly stepped forward, and a powerful aura burst out from his body. At the same time, the three people behind the Supreme Saint Sun also released powerful auras, pressing down on the transient light Saint Sun. Then Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the other two also released powerful auras that surged toward the Sacred Sun of Reflection and the others. The expressions of the Sacred Sun of Reflection and the others changed. The Universe God, Lu Ming, you're despicable. You actually want both sides to join forces against us. The Sacred Sun of Reflection roared. Floating light, you have 4 holy sons and holy virgins. We have 4 holy sons and holy virgins in total. It's a good time to fight and decide who's stronger. That's the fairest way. The Supreme Holy Sun sneered. He was right. There were 2 saint-level characters on his side. In addition to Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang, they had 4 saint-level characters, the same as the transient light saint and the others. You, the Sacred Sun of Reflection's expression was ugly. Enough nonsense, let's fight. Die. The Supreme Saint Sun shouted. His body emitted violent divine power. The violent aura formed a storm that pressed down on the transient light Saint Sun. Paragon Divine Fist. The Supreme Saint Sun roared, and his fists glowed with a golden light. He punched out continuously, and brilliant fist prints bombarded the transient light Saint Sun. Yen Kong, you and I will hold off Supreme Universe and the others. I'll leave Shuetan, Jixia, Lu Ming, and Ouyang Qingxiang to you. The Sacred Sun of Reflection roared. At this time, he had no choice but to fight. The floating light Saint Sun's figure moved and pounced towards the Supreme Saint Sun. His 5th-level celestial deity strength completely erupted. The divine light from beyond the heavens. The Sacred Sun of Reflection howled, and his body was covered in blinding light that was brighter than the sun. The dazzling light turned into a terrifying palm print and blasted toward the Supreme Holy Sun. Boom, boom. The 2 attacks collided, creating thousands of waves. The sky was filled with dazzling light, silver white and golden. However, the golden light clearly had the upper hand. In the end, the silver white light shook and exploded. The Sacred Sun was forced back. He was completely suppressed by the Supreme Holy Sun in a direct confrontation. At the same time, the Yen Kong Saint Sun and the Supreme Saint Sun's #1 subordinate were locked in a fierce battle. That person's strength was no weaker than the Yen Kong Saint Sun's. As for the other 2, they were weaker than the saints, so they didn't make a move. Instead, they stood on the side as a lookout. On the other side, Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were fighting against Holy Sun Jixia and Holy Maiden Xuetan. Song of the Green Lotus Sword, die. Ouyang Qingxiang shouted and slashed out a green sword light toward Holy Maiden Xuetan. Saintess Xuetan also used all her strength to resist. However, after one move, Xuetan's body trembled and she retreated. She was no match for him. Originally, Ouyang Xiangxiang and Holy Maiden Xuetan's strength were on par. However, now that Ouyang Xiangxiang had broken through to the 5th level Heavenly God realm, her strength was completely above Holy Maiden Xuetan's. Having gained the upper hand in one move, Ouyang Qingxiang continued to perform the Song of the Green Lotus Sword. Green lotus flowers enveloped Saintess Xuetan, bursting out with thousands of sword qi. Saintess Xuetan tried to block, but it was useless. After a dozen moves, she was pushed to the edge of the fighting ring with a few sword wounds on her body. An ancient god's roar was heard. It was from the ancient god body that Lu Ming had transformed into. However, Lu Ming did not use his full strength. He did not turn into a green-armored ancient god, but a green-armored ancient god. After cultivating the ancient god tactic, he could control what level of ancient god he wanted to become. Chapter 2874 dealing with floating light. Even though he had transformed into a green-armored ancient god and his cultivation was only at the 8th tier of true god, he was still able to completely suppress the Jixia Saint Sun. Saint Sun Jixia's combat power was similar to that of the Tianhong Saint Sun. Back then, Lu Ming's cultivation was also at the 8th tier of true god realm. He had transformed into a green-armored ancient god and defeated the Tianhong Saint Sun. Today, it was the same. Moon-slaying sword, moon-slaying sword. The long spear in Lu Ming's hands was as large as a mountain. He kept performing the moon-cutting move and bombarding Saint Sun Jixia. At the same time, Lu Ming cast the ice chain and the divine dragon materialization technique. The 9 ice chains continued to wrap around Holy Sun Jixia, seriously interfering with his performance. The 2 9-clawed divine dragons roared continuously and completely suppressed Saint Sun Jixia. Kong Chong and Lu Jie did not need to do anything. The sacred sun of reflection is going to lose. That's right. Lu Ming and Holy Maiden Qingxiang's abilities are truly astonishing. When they join forces with the Supreme Saint, the Transient Light Saint and the others are no match for them. That's right. Look. The sacred sun of reflection is about to lose. The supreme sacred sun is too strong. Many of the onlookers discussed animatedly. Suddenly, someone shouted. At that moment, the supreme saint sun had completely suppressed the transient light saint sun. The terrifying fist force pressed toward the transient light saint sun like an avalanche. The sacred sun couldn't hold on any longer. The supreme saint punched him in the chest. The sacred sun screamed and spat out a mouthful of blood. His body exploded and he was blown off the fighting ring. Ah, damn it. The sacred sun of reflection roared. Being blasted off the battle platform meant that he had lost. He no longer had any fate with the Zhongzi position, and he was truly unwilling to accept this. After the Supreme Saint Sun defeated the Transient Light Saint Sun, his body flashed and he charged toward the Yenkong Saint Sun. Boom. A terrifying fist force crushed toward the Yenkong Saint Sun. Although the Yenkong Saint Sun tried his best to block it, the difference between him and the Supreme Saint Sun was too great. He spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. He was severely injured. The Saint Sun Yenkong had been defeated. Song of the Green Lotus Sword, sword shaking the world. Die. Ouyang Qingxiang shouted, and the dazzling sword light sent Holy Maiden Xuetan flying. Holy Maiden Xuetan had been defeated. All of a sudden, only Saint Sun Jixia was left on the sacred sun's side. He was struggling to hold on in Lu Ming's hands, but his defeat was only a matter of time. The Supreme Holy Sun's gaze swept across Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang, and a sinister look suddenly flashed in his eyes. His body turned into a golden light and rushed toward Lu Ming, then he threw a punch at him. The Supreme Holy Sun had suddenly launched a sneak attack on Lu Ming. Furthermore, his first move was a killing move. If Lu Ming was hit by this move, he would at least be seriously injured or even crippled. The Supreme Holy Sun was still extremely afraid of Lu Ming. In his opinion, although Lu Ming's current ability was not as good as his, the speed of his improvement was too fast. At this rate, it would not be long before Lu Ming surpassed him. The reason why Supreme Move and the others had called for this meeting in advance to decide on the Zongzi position was entirely because they were afraid of Lu Ming. They were afraid that Lu Ming would surpass the Supreme Holy Sun in the future. This feeling made the Supreme Holy Sun extremely uncomfortable. In the past, he had always been high and mighty, suppressing the other holy sons and holy daughters. The other holy sons and holy virgins seemed to be just a foil to his existence. However, Lu Ming's radiance was about to surpass his. This made him extremely jealous of Lu Ming. He would not allow any Heaven's Pride expert to be stronger than him to exist in the Kong Xian sect, nor would he allow anyone to be more talented than him. If there were, he would get rid of them. Therefore, the Supreme Holy Sun seized the opportunity to attack Lu Ming and cripple him in one move. Paragon Universe, you're despicable! Ouyang Qingxiang shouted. Lu Ming was still fighting with the Saint's son Jixia. They had not completely defeated the Saint's son, but the Supreme Saint had already attacked Lu Ming. He was simply despicable. At this moment, Ouyang Qingxiang attacked without thinking. She used all her strength and turned into a beam of sword light. She appeared between Lu Ming and the Supreme Saint. Then she used the rest of her strength to set up a layer of defense. However, at the crucial moment, Ouyang Qingxiang did not gather much power. How could she block the Supreme Saint's attack? Boom! The Supreme Holy Sun's golden fist force landed on Ouyang Qingxiang's body and broke through her defenses. The violent force landed heavily on her body. Ouyang Xiangxiang was sent flying, and her blood splattered in the air. Fragrant! Ouyang Qingxiang's grandfather caught her, and his powerful divine power continuously flowed into her body. Ouyang Xiangxiang's face was deathly pale, and it was obvious that she was severely injured. Supreme Universe, die! Lu Ming shouted in anger. The divine power that exploded was stronger. The spear's light was like a mountain, shaking the sky and earth. It whipped Saint Sun Jixia's body and sent him flying off the fighting ring. In this way, the sacred Sun of Reflection and the other three were all defeated, leaving only 3 people in Lu Ming's group. There were still 4 Supreme Holy Suns. Boom! Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand, his fighting spirit soaring to the heavens. His cold killing intent erupted without any restraint. Despicable! Lu Ming said coldly. Umph! The Supreme Holy Sun snorted coldly and stared at Lu Ming with an unfriendly look. Buzz! And NBSP whoosh! The Supreme Holy Sun's 3 subordinates appeared beside him and stood in a line. Kong Chong and Lu Jie appeared beside Lu Ming, glaring at the Supreme Holy Sun. The situation has been settled. One of the elders shook his head. It seems like the Supreme Saint will definitely win this time. There's no more suspense. The Supreme Holy Sun will become a Zongzi. This is completely within my expectations. It's a good thing I've already joined the Supreme Holy Sun, huh? The scene was noisy. Some people were happy, while others were sad. The other Holy Sons and Holy Virgins factions all had unsightly expressions, while those from the Supreme Holy Sons faction were ecstatic. They all thought that the situation was already set. Lu Ming and the other 2 were the only ones left. They were no match for the Supreme Holy Sun. Lu Ming, do you still want to continue fighting? I think you'd better get out of the fighting ring on your own, or I'll have to make a move. The Supreme Holy Sun said coldly, looking at Lu Ming with disdain. I'll get off the fighting stage as well. However, it'll make you kneel in front of me before I get off the fighting stage. Lu Ming said coldly. You want me to kneel before you? Ha! The Supreme Holy Sun laughed crazily. After a few laughs, his expression changed to one of ferocity. Originally, I could have let you off if you rolled off the fighting ring yourself. But I've changed my mind. I want you to kneel in front of me and lick my shoes. The Supreme Holy Sun said coldly, and the aura on his body became even more violent. Bang! Bang! The Supreme Holy Sun walked out step by step. His entire body was covered in golden divine power, looking extraordinary and mighty. The violent aura kept pressing down on Lu Ming and the other two. With every step he took, his aura grew stronger. Lu Ming stood there unmoving. However, Kong Chong and Lu Jie could not resist and retreated continuously. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. The Supreme Vajra, Kong Chong, Lu Jie, both of you retreat to the edge of the fighting ring. At this moment, Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Kong Chong and Lu Jie. What? The two of them were stunned. You guys retreat to the edge of the fighting ring. Leave this to me. Otherwise, I won't be able to take care of you guys when the battle starts. Lu Ming said. This, Kong Chong and Lu Jie hesitated for a moment, then nodded. They moved and arrived at the edge of Zhan Tian. They knew that given their abilities, they could not help Lu Ming at all. Instead, they would only drag him down. Hee, Lu Ming, it seems like you're really confident in your ability to fight me alone. The Supreme Holy Sun glanced at Kong Chong and Lu Jie and sneered. Then he suddenly took a step forward and rushed toward Lu Ming, throwing a punch. Boom. The golden fist force seemed to have split the void in half. It was as huge as a small mountain and was crushing toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming was still in the form of the green-armored ancient god. With a shake of his long spear, he pressed down on the Supreme Holy Sun with the force of Mount Tai. In the process of suppressing it, Lu Ming's cultivation exploded to the limit of the 9th stage True God realm. Boom! The spear and the golden fist force collided in the void, creating a deafening boom and scattering the energy in all directions. The two of them triggered countless tiny spear lights and chi, which bombarded the fighting ring. The fighting ring shook violently, and runes appeared on it, forming a large array to block all the chi. However, everyone's eyes were wide open. Through the light that filled the sky, they watched every move on the field. Buzz! Buzz! In the light that filled the sky, the two figures trembled and staggered back. Lu Ming and the Supreme Holy Sun both retreated. The difference was that Lu Ming retreated more, while the Supreme Holy Sun retreated less. However, this scene still caused a huge uproar. People were shocked. Lu Ming could actually resist the Supreme Holy Sun and force him to retreat. This was something that the other Holy Suns could not do. Lu Ming's cultivation base is at the peak of True God. He's been hiding his abilities. He is indeed at the peak of True God realm. When he was fighting with the Holy Sun Jixia, he only revealed his cultivation of the 8th tier of True God realm. Now, when he is facing the Supreme Holy Sun, he only revealed his cultivation of the peak of the 9th tier of True God realm. But, even if he's at the peak of the 9th stage of True God realm, his combat power is too terrifying. You should know that the Supreme Holy Sun's cultivation is at the 6th stage of Celestial Deity realm. The scene was in an uproar, and the Supreme Holy Sun's face turned grave. Lu Ming, so you've been hiding your cultivation level. But this is your limit. You're dreaming if you think you can fight me with this level of cultivation. Supreme Divine Fist. The Supreme Saint let out a long howl and waved his fists. The speed at which he swung his fists was much slower than before. It was as if he was pushing a mountain. However, a loud rumbling sound could be heard in the void. It was as if the entire void was being pushed and pressed down on Lu Ming. Lu Ming could feel a few terrifying fist forces pressing down on him. Divine Dragon Phenomenon. Lu Ming's hands moved at an alarming speed. 2 9-clawed divine dragons appeared in the sky. They were 10,000 meters long and looked very lifelike. However, in the next moment, another 9-clawed divine dragon was formed next to the two. The third one. At that moment, Lu Ming had broken through his limit. In such a state, he had actually condensed the third divine dragon phenomenon. 3 9-clawed divine dragons that were 10,000 meters long pounced toward the Supreme Holy Sun. It's the Tianhong Saint Sun's divine dragon materialization technique. As soon as the divine dragon phenomenon appeared, it was recognized. It's really the Tianhong Saint Sun's divine dragon materialization art. Lu Ming can actually cultivate the divine dragon materialization art. He actually has the divine dragon bloodline in his body. The scariest thing is that he's much stronger than the Tianhong Saint Sun. The Tianhong Saint Sun has only condensed a 6-clawed divine dragon, while the Lu Ming Saint Sun has condensed a 9-clawed divine dragon, and 3 of them at that. Terrifying. He's simply unfathomable. Everyone present was deeply shocked. Break! The Supreme Holy Sun let out a long roar and pushed his fist force, constantly bombarding the 3 divine dragons. Another terrifying tremor erupted in the sky. The 3 9-clawed divine dragons and the Supreme Holy Sun let out a deafening roar that seemed to be able to split the sky. Whoosh! Whoosh! In such an intense confrontation, Lu Ming also used the 3 apocalyptic strikes to attack the Supreme Holy Sun with all his might. The terrifying spear radiance was aimed at the Supreme Holy Sun's vital parts. At the same time, the 9 ice chains would also try to wrap around the Supreme Holy Sun. It could be said that Lu Ming had used all his means. Their cooperation was flawless, and their destructive power was shocking. For a moment, he was actually on par with the Supreme Holy Sun. Lu Ming's abilities have become stronger. The sacred Sun of Reflection's face was extremely dark. Lu Ming's current combat strength had already surpassed his. If he were to fight Lu Ming, he would most likely be no match for him. The others were also silent. Lu Ming's abilities had far exceeded everyone's expectations. He could totally compete with the Supreme Saint. Divine-grade divine energy. The divine energy that Lu Ming controls is definitely divine-grade divine energy. Someone muttered, "Of course, I don't need you to tell me that. It must be divine-grade divine power." However, divine-grade divine power can't be this strong. With the cultivation of peak true God, he can fight with the Supreme Holy Sun. Secret skill. He must have mastered some amazing secret skill to increase his combat strength. It's so terrifying. I can see that he has already used several secret skills. He's definitely an unparalleled genius. It's a pity that he's given too little time. If he were given a few more years, the Supreme Holy Sun would definitely not be his match. Many people were convinced by Lu Ming's combat strength. At the same time, they could also guess why the person behind the Supreme Holy Sun had proposed to compete for the Zhongzi position. They must be afraid of Lu Ming. The Supreme Martial Artist's expression was ugly. The stronger Lu Ming was, the more fearful he was. Qian Kun still has a trump card that he hasn't used. This time, Qian Kun will definitely win. Grandmaster Dong coldly snorted in his heart. At that moment, the Supreme Holy Sun let out a long howl. "Lu Ming, you're not weak at all. You're qualified to see my ultimate move, Supreme Vajra." Die. The Supreme Saint Sun roared. His body burst out with even more dazzling golden light and started to swell. In the blink of an eye, the Supreme Holy Sun's body had grown to 200 meters tall. His entire body was golden, like an ancient invincible giant. This was one of the Supreme Holy Sun's strongest secret techniques. When he transformed into the legendary Supreme Vajra, his combat strength would skyrocket. Originally, Lu Ming had transformed into a green-armored ancient god and was 100 meters tall. But now, the Supreme Holy Sun's Supreme King Kong was twice as tall as Lu Ming. It's the secret ancient technique of the Supreme Clan, the Supreme Vajra. I heard that the Supreme Saint Clan's ancient secret technique, the Supreme King Kong, is extremely difficult to cultivate. No one from the Supreme Clan has successfully cultivated it for many years. I didn't expect that the Supreme Saint Sun would be able to successfully cultivate it. His talent is indeed amazing. Many people around the fighting ring exclaimed. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Suppressing the Supreme Holy Sun, crush them. The Supreme Holy Sun roared. His fist was as heavy as a mountain, and it was aimed at Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Ming saw a huge golden fist pressing down from the sky. The entire space shook violently. Lu Ming let out a roar that sounded like the roar of an ancient god and swept his spear out. Clang! The long spear and the Supreme Holy Sun's golden fist collided. Terrifying sound waves spread in all directions like water ripples. Buzz! Lu Ming's long spear shook violently as if it was about to be shattered. Lu Ming's 100-meter-tall body trembled and he retreated continuously. Thump. Boom! The 100-meter-tall body stepped on the fighting ring with a loud bang. The fighting ring kept shaking. Lu Ming had to take more than a dozen steps back before he could stabilize himself. Lu Ming, you're defeated. Kneel down. The Supreme Holy Sun roared and looked down at Lu Ming. His huge fists pressed down on Lu Ming, trying to force him to kneel on the ground. Do you think you're the only one who can get bigger? Get bigger too. Get bigger. Get bigger. Lu Ming shouted and his body rapidly grew in size. Lu Ming's body turned into 200 meters tall and the scales all over his body turned green. Lu Ming didn't hold back any longer and immediately turned into a green-armored ancient god. Boom! The spear struck out and clashed with the Supreme Holy Sun. The sky trembled and the two figures retreated. The two of them both retreated a dozen steps. What? Holy Sun Lu Ming was still holding back earlier. It's really too shocking. Lu Ming's transformation into a green-armored ancient god shocked even more people. Initially, everyone thought that Lu Ming had already reached his limit and could not be any stronger. However, Lu Ming did not seem to have any confidence. As his opponents grew stronger, so did he. The Supreme Holy Sun used the secret technique, Supreme Vajra, and turned into a 200-meter-tall giant. Lu Ming had also transformed into the green-armored ancient god. Damn it! The Supreme Saint roared, his heart trembling. His eyes were filled with fear. Yes, he was deeply shocked by Lu Ming's endless means. He was also afraid. No, I must win today. I must kill this brat. I must kill him. The Supreme Holy Sun roared in his heart, and his eyes revealed a ferocious look. Initially, he was not supposed to kill his opponent in this match. However, he did not care anymore. He had to kill Lu Ming no matter what. With his backing, so what if he killed Lu Ming? Who would punish him for a dead man? Kill! The Supreme Holy Sun roared and waved his fists, charging toward Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming was not afraid at all. He charged at the Supreme Holy Sun as well. The two huge figures collided and fought each other. The two of them used all their strength to suppress each other. Boom! Boom! The two of them fought on the fighting ring, and then they fought from the fighting ring to the sky. This battle lasted for more than 100 moves. Bang! The Supreme Saint punched Lu Ming's shoulder and penetrated it. Green scales and flesh flew everywhere. However, Lu Ming's long spear had also pierced the Supreme Holy Sun's abdomen, directly piercing through his abdomen and blasting a huge hole. Tragic! The battle was extremely intense. From the start of the battle until now, both of them knew that their combat strength was equal. Only by fighting head-on could they have a chance of winning. It was to see who was more ruthless and had a stronger will. The two of them didn't care about their injuries. Before they could recover, they started fighting again. Next, both of them were hit and their injuries worsened. However, the two of them didn't care. In their eyes, there was only one goal, and that was to defeat their opponents. Lu Ming. At the side of the fighting ring, Ouyang Xiangxiang, Yu Linglong, and the others were watching nervously, their hands tightly clasped together. They naturally hoped that Lu Ming would win. Meanwhile, the Supreme Being and the supporters of the Supreme Saint were also very nervous and hoped that the Supreme Saint would win. Therefore, most of them held their breath and stared at the two figures, waiting for the final result. Damn it, this kid actually has such strong strength. The more the Supreme Saint fought, the more shocked he became. Lu Ming's strength, patience, and ruthlessness had all exceeded his expectations. I will definitely win. My cultivation is at the 6th level of the celestial deity realm, and my divine power is strong and condensed. He, on the other hand, is only at the peak of the true God realm. I don't believe that I can't beat him with my divine power. I will exhaust him to death. The Supreme Holy Sun thought to himself. Unfortunately, he was destined to be disappointed. Lu Ming had the measure formula on him, and he had stored a large amount of divine power. He was not afraid of anyone. The two of them exchanged more than 200 moves. At this point, the Supreme Holy Sun's divine power was gradually losing, while Lu Ming was still as lively as a dragon and a tiger. This is bad. Lu Ming is a monster. If this goes on, Chen Kun will be defeated. I must stop him. The Grandmaster felt a sense of foreboding in his heart, and then he roared, "Stop!" Hearing this voice, the Supreme Holy Sun wanted to retreat and stop the battle. However, Lu Ming would not let him retreat so easily. Lu Ming quickly followed, his long spear constantly stabbing at the Supreme Holy Sun, making it impossible for him to retreat. Seeing this, a ferocious look flashed in the Supreme Being's eyes. A powerful aura erupted from his body and pressed down on Lu Ming and the Supreme Holy Sun. He said in a cold voice, "Lu Ming, I told you to back off. Did you not hear me?" However, just as the Supreme Martial Artist's aura was about to burst out, Ouyang Qingxiang's grandfather also moved. He burst out with his aura and cancelled out the Supreme Martial Artist's aura. Therefore, Lu Ming's figure only paused for a moment before he continued to attack the Supreme Holy Sun. The autarchs are moving? What are you doing? They're having a competition, and no one has the right to interfere in the process. Ouyang Xiangxiang's grandfather, Wuxia, coldly said, "Who said I wanted to interfere? I just have something to announce." The Supreme Martial Artist said, "What's the matter? Just tell me." Wuxia said coldly, "Today's battle was too brutal. The two of them are still in a draw and both of them are seriously injured. It won't be good for them if this continues. I suggest that we end it with a draw today and fight another day to prevent them from hurting their origin energy." The Supreme Martial Artist said. His eyes glowed with a cunning light. As long as they stopped fighting now, he would have a way to let the Supreme Holy Sun win the next time. He could even make Lu Ming disappear forever so that he would not be able to compete with the Supreme Holy Sun. Ah, what a joke. Old man, you're too shameless. Everyone can see that the Supreme Universe's divine power is running out and he's about to lose, but you actually said it was a draw and said it was for our own good. I spit on you, you're so shameless. Lu Ming was really angry and he cursed. He had seen many shameless people, and Supreme Movement was definitely in the top 5. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Kneel down, Lu Ming, what did you say? What did you just say? Jizun Dong was so angry that his entire body was trembling. His hair and beard were standing on end, and his eyes were burning with rage. Lu Ming actually dared to scold him in front of so many people. This made him furious and he wished he could slap Lu Ming to death. Not only are you shameless, but you also have bad hearing. Didn't you hear me when I said you're shameless? Lu Ming did not give the Supreme Being any face and directly mocked him. There was no need for Lu Ming to give face to such a shameless person. Brat, you don't know your place. You're simply going against your superior. They'll kill you. The Supreme Martial Artist roared in anger and slapped Lu Ming. Jizun Dong was a divine king, and his strength was astonishing. With a palm strike, the entire sky darkened, and a palm print covered the sun. However, Wuxia was constantly watching the movements of the Supreme Martial Artist. As soon as the Supreme Martial Artist moved, Wuxia also made his move. A beam of sword light soared into the sky and slashed towards the palm print of the Supreme Martial Artist. The palm print was directly split apart, and the sword light and the palm print turned invisible. Wuxia, what are you doing? This kid is lawless and arrogant. I want to kill him and you want to stop me? Supreme Martial Artist Dong roared. Nonsense. Lu Ming is right. You're so shameless. Can I scold you? In my opinion, he did a good job scolding them and he enjoyed it. What crime is there to be guilty of? Wuxia laughed coldly. The Grandmaster was furious. However, this time, those senior statesmen who had previously helped the Supreme Martial Artist did not stand up to help him. Supreme Being Dong was indeed a little shameless. Did he think that the others were fools? It was obvious that Supreme Universe was no match for him and was at a disadvantage. It was simply too shameless for him to announce a draw. The other doyens would never do such a thing. Without any help, the Supreme Martial Artist could no longer do anything. At this time, the battle between Lu Ming and the Supreme Saint was still ongoing. However, Lu Ming had already gained the upper hand. The more they fought, the more the Supreme Saint's divine power was consumed, and it was getting harder and harder for him to hold on. However, Lu Ming's attacks were still as fierce as before, like a storm. Bang! Lu Ming's spear swept across the Supreme Being's body. Half of the Supreme Being's body exploded, and blood and flesh flew everywhere. Supreme Martial Artist Dong staggered backward and spat out a mouthful of blood. His body rapidly shrunk to the size of a normal person. He had used up a lot of his divine power and was severely injured. He could no longer maintain his supreme Vajra body. Now that he had returned to the size of a normal person, his abilities were much weaker and he was no match for Lu Ming. Boom! Lu Ming's long spear pressed down like a mountain range. The Supreme Being used all his strength to resist, but the outcome was already decided. As the spear pressed down, the Supreme Martial Artist's body trembled. "Kneel down!" Lu Ming shouted. His divine power gushed toward the spear like a tide, making the spear extremely heavy and constantly pressing down on the Supreme Martial Artist. "No!" the Supreme Saint shouted hysterically. He did not want to kneel, but he could not resist Lu Ming's suppression. Bang! The Supreme Holy Son's body trembled, and he knelt on the ground. "CSI!" gasps rang out in the crowd. Their eyes were filled with deep shock. The Supreme Saint had actually knelt down. He was suppressed by another person and knelt on the ground in front of everyone. If one did not witness this scene with their own eyes, it would be hard for one to believe it. The Supreme Holy Son could be said to be the legend of this generation in the Kong-Xian sect. He was the strongest prodigy and was considered the best candidate for the future sect leader. He was a figure who could compete with the prodigies of the three overlord forces. But now, such a figure had been defeated by someone, and the person who had defeated him was a new disciple. All of this was simply a legend. "Lu Ming, I'm going to kill you, die." The Supreme Saint's son howled madly. His eyes were blood red as he struggled madly, exuding a terrifying killing intent. "You're just a loser, you're looking for death," Lu Ming said coldly. He took a step forward and beams of spear radiance burst out, piercing the Supreme Holy Son's body, adding to his injuries. At the same time, the spear in his hand continued to press down, pressing the Supreme Saint's son to the ground like a toad. Buzz! Then, Lu Ming took a step forward and came before the Supreme Holy Son. His body began to shrink to the size of a normal person and he stepped on the Supreme Holy Son's face. The Supreme Saint roared madly. This was a great humiliation, and it was even worse than killing him. He was stepped on by Lu Ming in public. "Lu Ming, that's enough." The Grandmaster roared in anger, his eyes revealing a cold, killing intent. If Wuxia had not stopped him, he would have already killed Lu Ming. "Old man, you have no right to speak." "That's right, didn't you say just now that if I were to defeat Universe Master, your name would be written in reverse? Now, what should you be called?" Lu Ming sneered and mocked. "Ha, not bad. Supreme Move." "No, I can't call you Supreme Move now. I should call you Supreme Move." "Haha, this name is really awkward. However, it suits you quite well." Wuxia laughed out loud, extremely carefree. "You guys," the Supreme Martial Artist's face was flushed red, and he could not wait to grind Lu Ming's bones into dust. "Alright, that's all for this competition." Right at this moment, the calm voice of the Dragon Boat Mountain rang out. Previously, Dragon Boat Mountain had been watching coldly from the side. Now that everything was over, they finally stood up and spoke. Dragon Boat Mountain spoke. Supreme Movement and Wuxia coldly looked at each other, snorted, and retreated. "Get lost." Lu Ming chuckled and kicked the Supreme Holy Son in the face, sending him flying. Lu Ming was the only one left on the fighting ring. "Alright, according to the rules, Lu Ming is the winner of this round," Dragon Boat Mountain announced. "Alright." At the side of the fighting ring, some people were cheering loudly. They all belonged to Lu Ming's faction and Ouyang Qingxiang's faction. Especially Yu Linglong, Wu Zifeng and the others, they shouted especially loudly and were very excited. The people from the Supreme Saint Sun's faction, the Floating Light Saint Sun's faction, the Jixia Saint Sun's faction, the Yen Kong Saint Sun's faction, and the Shuatan Saint Daughter's faction all looked terrible. Some people had gloomy expressions, some were sighing, and some were already thinking about how to seek new support. According to the previous rules, Lu Ming was the one who helped Ouyang Qingxiang in the contest. Therefore, since Ouyang Qingxiang is the winner this time, I hereby announce that Ouyang Qingxiang is the future Zongzi and my successor. The Dragon Boat's mountain announced once again. The scene suddenly fell silent as everyone's eyes were focused on Ouyang Qingxiang. Congratulations, Ouyang Zongzi. Lu Ming stood on the fighting ring and cupped his fists. Congratulations, Ouyang Zongzi. Then, those from Ouyang Qingxiang's faction and Lu Ming's faction congratulated Ouyang Qingxiang. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Dragon Boat Mountain's goal. As for the other factions, they unwillingly congratulated Ouyang Qingxiang. After the congratulations, Dragon Boat Mountain announced that they would hold a conferment ceremony for Ouyang Qingxiang, and the entire sect celebrated. As for Zhi Zundong and the others, they had already left with the Supreme Saint's son. The title ceremony lasted for 3 days before it ended. After this incident, Lu Ming's reputation had reached its peak. It had even surpassed the Zongzi, Ouyang Qingxiang. Everyone knew that Lu Ming was very talented. Even if he was not a Zongzi, he would definitely be the true overlord of Kongxian sect in the future. Even if Ouyang Qingxiang really became the sect leader, her influence would not be higher than Lu Ming's. Therefore, in the days that followed, a large number of people began to join Lu Ming's faction. Although Lu Ming did not become a Zongzi, the power of his sect grew stronger and stronger. Of course, there were also many who sided with Ouyang Xiangxiang. After all, she was a Zongzi who would be in charge of the Kongxian sect in the future. In just half a year, a large number of people had sought refuge with Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. Many of these people belonged to the other Holy Sons and Holy Virgins. The two's forces had skyrocketed and had far surpassed the Supreme Holy Sun and the Transient Light Holy Sun. Just like that, another few years passed. These few years, Lu Ming had been focused on cultivation and polishing his foundation. It was worth mentioning that Qiu Yu's progress was lightning fast. She had broken through 2 realms in a row and was not far from the 9th stage of True God. As for Qiu, ever since it had devoured the bronze altar fragment in the ancient god world, it had been in a deep sleep and had not woken up. On this day, Lu Ming was cultivating when he suddenly opened his eyes. Immediately after, runes appeared on his body. They were densely packed and slithered around his body like small snakes. Dark Dragon Blood Curse, is Dragon Boat Mountain summoning me? Lu Ming frowned. The Dark Dragon Blood Curse had always been a big issue in his heart. Senior Bone Demon, you still haven't thought of a way to break the Dark Dragon Blood Curse? Lu Ming consulted the Bone Demon. A few years ago, Lu Ming had asked the Bone Demon for advice on how to break the Dark Dragon Blood Curse. However, the Bone Demon did not give him any effective methods. It's difficult. This Dark Dragon Blood Curse is extremely mysterious. The sect leader of your Kongxian sect is definitely not ordinary. I'm afraid he has a big secret on him. Bone Demon's figure appeared on the scroll. Is there really no other way? Lu Ming muttered. It's a pity that I don't have any cultivation at all right now. Otherwise, I would have a way. Besides, I don't know the purpose of the Dragon Boat's blood curse on you. If I knew his purpose, I could also prescribe the right medicine and come up with a way to break it. Bone said. Lu Ming nodded. The only thing they could do now was to wait. After a while, the dark dragon blood curse on his body gradually faded away. At this moment, someone came to Lu Ming's courtyard. Holy Son Lu Ming, the sect master has invited you? The person who had just arrived was an inner court elder, and his voice was transmitted into the courtyard. All right. Lu Ming walked out of the courtyard, nodded, and followed the old man. Not long after, he came to a large hall and the old man retreated. In the main hall, the Dragon Boat Mountain was waiting. Once Lu Ming arrived, the dragon boats sized him up carefully. The more they sized him up, the more satisfied they were. Dragon Boat Mountain, why did you ask someone to look for me? Lu Ming asked with a sullen face. He didn't have a good attitude towards Dragon Boat Mountain. Not bad, not bad. Lu Ming, The speed of your improvement has exceeded my expectations. Good, very good. Dragon Boat Mountain nodded repeatedly. You didn't ask me to come just to praise me, did you? Lu Ming said coldly. Of course not. What I want to say is that your cultivation speed is still too slow. Now, it'll give you 10 years. Within 10 years, you must reach the heavenly god realm. Otherwise, it'll activate the dark dragon blood curse and kill you. Do you understand? Dragon Boat Mountain suddenly said with a cold expression. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with killing intent. His cultivation speed was already extremely shocking, but the Dragon Boat's master still thought that he was slow and wanted him to break through to the heavenly god stage within 10 years. This was almost impossible. From true god realm to celestial god realm, there was a huge gap. Countless people were blocked on this gap, unable to cross it in their lifetime. Even some geniuses would need a long time to break through, as well as luck. Breaking through to the celestial deity realm in 10 years' time was virtually something impossible. How is it possible to break through to the heavenly god level in 10 years? Lu Ming said coldly. Lu Ming, this is your only option. If you can't do it, you'll die. Dragon Boat Mountain sneered. Creak. Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly. If not for the fact that he was not a match for the Dragon Boat Mountain, he would have killed them on the spot. Lu Ming, find out the reason why he placed the dark dragon blood curse on you. At this moment, the Bone Demon's voice was transmitted into Lu Ming's spiritual sense. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, but he did not show it on his face. He looked coldly at the dragon boats and said, Dragon Boat Mountain, what's your purpose in casting the dark dragon blood curse on me? You don't need to know about this. Dragon Boat Mountain waved his hand. Dragon Boat Mountain, you don't dare to tell me your goal. I reckon that your goal is to harm me. If my guess is correct, after I break through to the heavenly deity stage, it will be of great use to you. As for me, it's very likely that I'll die. I'm going to die anyway. Rather than waiting to be used by you to death, I might as well be killed by you now so that I won't fulfill your wish. Lu Ming said coldly. You dare. Dragon Boat Mountain coldly shouted. What's there to be afraid of? At worst, you'll just die. Lu Ming shouted loudly, and a violent aura burst out from his body. He looked like he was going to fight to the death with the dragon boat. All right, I'll tell you. Dragon Boat Mountain frowned and raised his hand. A powerful force dispersed Lu Ming's aura as he spoke coldly. Lu Ming's aura descended. Lu Ming, you're right. After you've broken through to the heavenly god level, I do need your help. There's no harm in telling you, I placed the dark dragon blood curse on you to nurture it. The stronger your cultivation is, the stronger the dark dragon blood curse will be. When you break through to the celestial god realm, the dark dragon blood curse in your body will be extremely powerful. I can use it to break a formation. Dragon Boat Mountain said. What formation? Lu Ming continued asking. Dragon Boat Mountain frowned, but he soon smiled and said, Rising Dragon Array. All right, I've told you everything I need to tell you. Go on and work hard. Remember, you only have 10 years. If you can't break through to the heavenly god realm in 10 years, there's no point in keeping you alive. A cold glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He then turned around and left. As they watched Lu Ming leave, the Dragon Boat Mountain's eyes flashed with ferocity. Kid, you want to know my goal and find a way to break it? However, what's the use of knowing my purpose? Hurry up and break through. When you reach the heavenly god realm, I'll regain my freedom. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2878 Searching for Materials. The dragon boat's sinister laughter reverberated in the Great Hall. Lu Ming had already left the Great Hall and quickly returned to his residence. Senior Bone Demon, do you know of the Rising Dragon Array? Lu Ming asked the Bone Demon as soon as he came back. Of course I know the Rising Dragon Array. Haha, so it's the Rising Dragon Array. I know what that kid is going to do. Bone laughed. Senior Bone Demon, do you know the true purpose of the Dragon Boat Mountain? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he asked. That's right. If I'm not wrong, the reason why the Dragon Boat Mountain placed the Dark Dragon Blood Curse in your body was to use you to refine the Dark Dragon Blood Curse and then use it to save someone who was trapped in the Rising Dragon formation. And I'm guessing that your sect master is no longer the real person. Bone said, "It's not the real person?" Lu Ming was surprised. That's right. His own soul has probably been destroyed long ago. Now, his body is occupied by someone else. If I'm not wrong, the person who occupied his body is the existence trapped by the Rising Dragon Array. He wants to use you to escape and regain his freedom. Once he succeeds, you will also die. Bone analyzed the situation clearly, as if he had seen through everything. It's actually like this. Lu Ming was stunned by the Bone Demon's analysis. Unexpectedly, the real Dragon Boat Mountain had already died long ago. The current Dragon Boat Mountain was only in existence whose body had been occupied by someone else. As expected, he didn't have good intentions. Lu Ming's gaze was cold. The Dragon Boat Mountain's goal was indeed to sacrifice him to save him. "Senior Bone Demon, do you have any countermeasures?" Lu Ming asked. "Since I know his goal, I naturally have a plan to deal with it. We still have 10 years. Lu Ming, do as I say. First, we need to buy some materials and refine an array disc. Then we'll fight him." The Bone Demon said. Then, a series of material names appeared in Lu Ming's mind. These materials, Lu Ming was stunned. He had not heard of many of the materials that the Bone Demon had mentioned. "Kid, hurry up and get these materials." Bone said. Lu Ming nodded and left the place. He also left Kong Xian's sect and headed towards Planet Thousand Spirits. Myriad Spirit Star was the gathering place of the entire Qin Tian Starfield's Chamber of Commerce. All kinds of strange materials could be bought here. After arriving on Planet Thousand Spirits, Lu Ming finally bought most of the materials he needed after many inquiries. However, there were still 3 kinds of materials that he had not bought. These 3 materials were extremely rare and precious. The 3 materials were the 9-clawed Divine Dragon's Bone, the Evil Energy Stone, and the Desolate Chaotic Grass. The bone of a 9-clawed Divine Dragon? Where can we find it? Senior 9 Dragon has long passed away. Lu Ming furrowed his eyebrows. I wonder if the Divine 9 Dragon Cauldron contains the bones of a 9-clawed Divine Dragon? Lu Ming suddenly thought of the Divine 9 Dragon Cauldron. The Divine 9 Dragon Cauldron had been forged by the 9 dragons and the Ancestral Dragon with all their strength. It was just a little bit away from being promoted to a divine artifact, and was the natal magic weapon of the 9 dragons. Natal Dharma treasures were usually forged from one's own flesh, blood, and bones in order to display their strongest power. Back in the Heaven Realm, the Divine 9 Dragon Cauldron had been of great help to Lu Ming. However, ever since Lu Ming came to the primeval universe, his combat strength had skyrocketed. The Divine 9 Dragon Cauldron was no longer of any use to him. However, Lu Ming had never thrown it away. Instead, he had kept it. At this moment, Lu Ming waved his hand and the Divine 9 Dragon Cauldron flew out from a storage ring. Senior Bone Demon, take a look at these 9 cauldrons. Do they contain the bones of a 9-clawed Divine Dragon? Lu Ming consulted the Bone Demon. The Bone Demon flew out from between Lu Ming's eyebrows and stopped above the Divine 9 Dragon Cauldron. It studied it carefully. That's right. The 9 cauldrons contain the bones of the 9-clawed True Dragon. The bones of the 9-clawed Divine Dragon are the foundation of the 9 cauldrons. Bone nodded. It really is. Lu Ming was also very surprised. He had only been guessing before, but he didn't expect it to come true. One could imagine that the 9 dragons had paid a huge price in order to refine this huge cauldron, and they had actually used their own bone armor to forge it. Lu Ming was overjoyed. In this case, Lu Ming was only left with 2 of the 3 most difficult materials to find. Lu Ming came to a place that was specially used to gather information. After some inquiries and paying a high price, Lu Ming finally found out the whereabouts of the last 2 materials. The Evil Profound Stone is in an evil clan in the Rushing Void Galaxy. I'll go to that clan first. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Then, Lu Ming took the teleportation array and rushed to the Rushing Void Galaxy. On the surface, the Luo family of the virtual galaxy was a normal cultivation family. However, they were actually an evil family. Their cultivation technique was extremely evil. They specialized in digging out the eyes of other cultivators to cultivate their evil technique. Lu Ming had also paid a huge price to find out this information from the organization that was investigating. Such a family doesn't need to exist anymore. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. After a long journey, Lu Ming arrived at the Luo family's residence. Boom! Lu Ming appeared in the sky above the Luo family's residence, his vast aura erupting. Who dares to appear in the sky above my Luo family? With a loud shout, a few strong men flew out. These few brawny men had peak true god cultivation bases. When they saw that Lu Ming was also peak true god cultivation bases, they instantly revealed ferocious expressions. Kid, or you tell me the truth, or you won't be able to leave. One of the burly men shouted. He stared at Lu Ming's eyes with an evil and greedy look. He wanted to dig out Lu Ming's eyeballs to cultivate. The person who will kill you, Lu Ming said coldly. Then, a violent divine power surged towards the other party. Lu Ming's divine power was extremely strong. To the few burly men, it was simply a perilous situation. The divine power crushed over and the few burly men screamed in pain. Their bodies were crushed by Lu Ming's divine power and finally turned into ashes and dissipated in the air. He was also at the peak of true god. However, the other peak true gods were like ants in front of Lu Ming. How dare you kill my Luo family's people? A mere true god realm, you're looking for death. Kill him. At this moment, the entire Luo family was in an uproar. Powerful auras shot up into the sky. Powerful figures rushed up into the sky and headed for Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming's expression was calm. He had long inquired about it. In the Luo family, the strongest was only a 4th-level celestial deity. There were only about 30 heavenly god-level powerhouses in total. Lu Ming did not take them to heart at all. Ancient god body. Lu Ming roared. He used his ancient god body and turned into a giant ancient god, charging at the Luo family experts. As the long spear was swung, a large number of Luo family experts exploded and died on the spot. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. The desolate mountains. The Luo family's experts were completely vulnerable to Lu Ming. A moment later, Lu Ming left the Luo residence with a cold expression on his face. The Luo residence had already turned into a sea of fire and had been trampled flat. All the experts of the Luo family had been killed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming would not show any mercy to this evil family. In the Luo family's core treasury, Lu Ming successfully found an evil eye stone. The evil eye stone was the Luo family's clan treasure, and it was easy to find. In this way, only the last type of desolate grass was left. The desolate grass was found in the desolate mountain range where the Stellar River was. This was an extremely special mountain range. This mountain range wasn't located on a certain planet. Instead, it was the entire mountain range, floating in the universe. The mountain range was incomparably huge, and there were extremely terrifying domains on it. No matter what creature entered, it would be difficult for them to fly and would suffer great pressure. However, the desolate mountains were rich in resources and had many precious divine herbs. The desolate grass was an extremely rare and precious divine grass. Even in the desolate mountain range, it was very rare and valuable. It was a treasure that could not be bought with money. Therefore, many cultivators would come here to explore and search for treasures. Lu Ming sat on the starry sky warship and flew in the vast starry sky. A huge mountain range appeared in front of him. From a distance, it looked like a giant dragon was circling in the universe. The vast universe is truly wondrous, Lu Ming sighed. At this moment, Lu Ming noticed that there were streams of light flying toward the desolate mountains from other directions like meteors. Of course, these weren't meteors, but experts. Some of them sat on the space battleships, while others flew. To be able to use one's body to travel through the universe, one had to be at least a heavenly god. Buzz! All of a sudden, a figure flew rapidly from behind Lu Ming's warship. It was a burly man. He was very strong and muscular. He had a ferocious look. Get lost, you're just like an ant. Don't block the way. When the burly man passed by Lu Ming, he struck his palm at Lu Ming's interplanetary warship. Thump. The Starry Sky battleship was hit, and it trembled violently before flying out. Ah, the burly man laughed, glanced at Lu Ming in disdain, and then left. In his opinion, a person on an interplanetary warship was most likely below the level of a heavenly god. He didn't care at all. This guy. Lu Ming's gaze turned cold as he watched the burly man leave. In the end, he did not make a move. He continued to control the starship and flew towards the desolate mountain range. Why are there so many people? Lu Ming sized up his surroundings and revealed a strange look. Outside the huge desolate mountain range, there were many experts of different races floating in the air. The number was shocking. At a glance, there were no less than 10,000 people. In the past, although there were people who came to the desolate mountain range to search for treasures, there were never this many people. As they neared the desolate mountains, Lu Ming left the Starry Sky battleship and floated in the starry sky. Senior, may I ask what happened here? Why are there so many people? Lu Ming came to the side of a white-haired elder and asked with cupped fists. The others were not too surprised. Stage 9 True God Realm experts could already stay in the universe for a period of time. However, they couldn't cross the universe and fly from one planet to another. You don't know. The old man looked at Lu Ming in surprise. I don't know. Lu Ming shook his head. There's no harm in telling you. Recently, I heard that the Heart of Desolation has appeared in the desolate mountain range. That's why so many people have been attracted here. These people are all here to find the Heart of Desolation. The old man smiled, looking very familiar. The Heart of Desolation? Lu Ming had a puzzled look on his face. He had never heard of the Heart of Desolation. The Heart of Desolation. There's actually a Heart of Desolation here. Ha! The heavens are on my side. No, the heavens are on your side. Lu Ming, you must get the Heart of Desolation. The Heart of Desolation can completely replace the desolation grass, and its effects are several times better. The formation discs refined from it will be even more powerful. That way, our chances of success will be greater. After hearing about the Heart of Desolation, Bone laughed out loud in excitement. It's actually several times better than the desolate grass. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with intense anticipation. He had to succeed in dealing with Dragon Boat Mountain this time. Therefore, he had to obtain the Heart of Desolation. Young man, there are a lot of experts here. I can see that you're only at the peak of True God Realm. How about we form a team and go into the desolate mountain range to explore? The old man suggested. Form a team? Lu Ming's gaze flickered. That's right. Look, the others are also forming teams. I'm afraid it'll be very dangerous to enter the mountain range alone. The old man pointed to the front. Lu Ming looked ahead. There were already many people entering the desolate mountain range. They were all in groups of 3 to 5. All right. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and nodded. This elder's cultivation was only at the 3rd level celestial deity realm. Lu Ming did not think much of him. However, the desolate mountain range was extremely huge. If he were to search for the Heart of Desolation alone, it would undoubtedly be like looking for a needle in a haystack. If he were to form a team with others, at least the chances of finding the Heart of Desolation would be higher. That's great. Then let's find some more people and form a team to go in. The old man smiled and then went to greet the others. Not long after, the old man found another 6 people to form a team. The 6 of them were all at heavenly god level cultivation. Lu Ming was the only true god level. Sankei, why did you find a true god realm expert to go with us? If such a person goes in, wouldn't he be a burden to us? A woman in her 30s cast a cold glance at Lu Ming and said unhappily. This woman had an extremely seductive look and an amazing figure. However, she had an arrogant look on her face and looked down on Lu Ming. This little brother is a friend of mine. Everyone, please give this old man some face and let this little brother come along. The old man's name was Sankei, and he said with a smile. Since he's your friend, Sen, I can give him face. But I have to say this first. After entering the desolate mountain range, if we encounter any danger, I won't care about him. We can't be dragged down by a true god realm trash. The seductive woman said. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He could not be bothered to argue with the other party. This woman was only a first-level celestial deity. Who knew what kind of mentality she had, looking down on a true god realm expert? The rest of them only cast an indifferent glance at Lu Ming and ignored him. To them, it was just a real god and they didn't need to care about him. If they were in danger, they could just abandon him. Good, good, good. San Ke laughed apologetically. The group of 8 then flew towards the desolate mountain range. Chapter 2881 Ill Intentions. There were extremely powerful domains in the desolate mountain range. The closer one was to the front, the stronger the domain. Therefore, if he wanted to enter the mountain range, he would have to enter from the rear end. After entering the mountain range, the effect of the domain would be greatly reduced. This way, he could slowly go deeper into the mountain range along the mountain range. Therefore, everyone entered the mountain range from the back. Lu Ming's group of 8 flew in from the rear. As soon as they entered the desolate mountain range, Lu Ming felt a powerful domain acting on his body, almost dragging him down the mountain range. They hurriedly circulated their divine power to resist the domains of the outside world and slowly descended to the ground. They had just landed when a loud roar rang out. It was a desolate beast. In the desolate mountain range, there were also many wild beasts. Some of the wild beasts were very strong, but this wild beast only had the strength of a 9th stage true god. A mere true god realm, trying to sneak attack? You're looking for death. The seductive woman shouted coldly. A sword light flashed and cut the wild beast in half. Then, she glanced at Lu Ming coldly as if to say that it was useless to see it. True god-level experts were so vulnerable. Lu Ming could not be bothered with this woman. In Lu Ming's heart, this woman was an idiot. Being ignored by Lu Ming, a cold glint flashed in the seductive woman's eyes. A mere true god actually dared to ignore her. He really didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Follow me, San Ke said, and then walked in one direction. The group followed San Ke. Along the way, they were attacked by wild beasts from time to time. However, the level of the wild beasts here was not very high. Most of them were below the heavenly god realm. There were not many of them who had reached the heavenly god realm. They were not a threat to Lu Ming and the group and were easily killed. Half a day later, they were millions of miles deep into the mountain range. At this point, the domains of the desolate mountain range were already extremely astonishing. The pressure was getting greater and greater. At this point, let alone flying, even circulating divine power was somewhat difficult. At this time, they came to a huge valley. At this point, San Ke suddenly stopped. San Ke, why are you not moving? Do you even know where the heart of desolation is? One of the burly men asked. Hee hee. San Ke let out a few strange laughs and swept his gaze across Lu Ming and the rest of the 7 people. I don't know where the heart of desolation is, but I do know that you're going to die soon, hee hee. Among the 7 of them, apart from Lu Ming, everyone's expression changed. San Ke, what do you mean? What are you trying to do? The seductive woman glared at San Ke. What are you doing? It's very simple. Hand over all your treasures and I can leave your corpses intact. Otherwise, I can only feed you to the wild beasts. San Ke sneered. San Ke, you brought us here with ill intentions indeed. However, it's a little ridiculous that you think you can kill us. One of the burly men was much calmer than before. He spoke coldly and emitted a powerful aura. 4th-level celestial deity. This burly man was a 4th-level celestial deity realm, even higher than Sank's 3rd-level celestial deity realm. The burly man's powerful aura pressed down on San Ke, but Sank's expression did not change at all. In fact, the killing intent in its eyes became even stronger. All of you come out. San Ke called out. Buzz, buzz, and NBSP whoosh. As Sank's voice rang out, a few figures suddenly rushed out of the valley. There were a total of 11 figures. They moved at an astonishing speed, like a stream of light. In a few flashes they had surrounded Lu Ming and the rest. "Senyi, you set up an ambush here, you tricked us." "Damn it." The seductive woman, the burly man, and the others all shouted with a crazed expression. At this time, no matter how stupid they were, they also understood what was going on. When Sankei asked them to form a team, it was a complete trap. He had already planned to let the others lie in ambush here to kill and steal. They had been tricked. "It's him." Lu Ming's expression was very calm. However, when he saw one of the burly men, a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. The burly man was the one who attacked Lu Ming's warship from the Starry Sky battleship. At that time, Lu Ming did not pay much attention to it. He did not expect to meet this burly man again. Moreover, he was robbing him with Sankei and the rest. He had to admit that enemies were really bound to meet on a narrow road. "Hand over all your treasures so we don't have to do it ourselves," Sankei sneered. However, no one had moved. Who would hand over their treasures so easily? "Why are you talking so much nonsense with them? Just kill them directly to avoid any more trouble." The burly man who had attacked Lu Ming earlier shouted coldly, exuding a powerful aura. This burly man also had a 4th-level celestial deity cultivation. In reality, there were a total of 6 4th-level celestial deity existences in this group. On the other hand, Lu Ming and the rest only had a 4th-level celestial deity. The difference was too great. "You want me to hand over the treasure? Dream on." On Lu Ming's side, the 4th-level celestial deity existence roared loudly and burst out with all his strength, charging to the side. Boom. He punched out, and his aura exploded, crushing forward. He wanted to kill a path of blood and escape. "You're looking for death." A few experts from the other side shouted coldly and attacked the burly man at the same time. These few people were all 4th-level celestial deity powerhouses. They joined forces to charge towards that burly man, displaying a terrifying killing move. It was impossible to fight against 3 people alone. 2 of their attacks landed on the burly man's body. The burly man let out a blood-curdling scream and was sent flying. He spat out a large mouthful of blood and was already half dead. The seductive woman and the others' faces were as white as snow, without a trace of blood. The strongest among them had almost been killed in one move. They had even less hope now. Many people revealed looks of despair. "Brother Senk, brothers, as long as you don't kill me, I'll give you anything you want." The seductive woman had a charming smile on her face. She swayed her slender waist and looked at Sankei and the others with her charming eyes. "Bitch, get lost. This move of yours is ineffective against us. Attack and kill them." Sankei shouted coldly. In their line of work, they would never leave anyone alive, no matter how coquettish the seductive woman was. Boom, boom. Sankei and the others immediately attacked. "Brat, I'll be the first to send you on your way." Sank's eyes glowed coldly as he stared at Lu Ming. He was the first to charge at Lu Ming. His blood-red claws were aimed at Lu Ming's heart. However, after a cold light flashed, Sank's body froze. His eyes were wide open, revealing a look of disbelief. His heart had been pierced by a spear. This long spear was naturally thrust by Lu Ming. Chapter 2881 Origin Energy Path. You, Sankei looked at Lu Ming in disbelief. Then, it looked extremely frightened. He had never expected that Lu Ming, who was only at the 9th stage of True God Realm, would attack so quickly. He did not even see clearly how Lu Ming attacked, and the long spear in Lu Ming's hand had already pierced his heart. He knew that he had encountered a terrifying heaven's favorite, a heaven's favorite whose combat strength could not be measured by cultivation. Spare my life. Blood kept oozing out of Sank's mouth as it tried to beg for Lu Ming's mercy. "Let's go," Lu Ming said coldly. With a shake of the long spear, Sank's body was torn into pieces and he died on the spot. "Brat, you're looking for death." The burly man who had attacked Lu Ming's interplanetary warship earlier roared and charged toward Lu Ming. His 4th-level celestial deity aura crushed towards Lu Ming violently, wanting to kill him. Divine Dragon Phenomenon. A deep voice came out of Lu Ming's mouth. Then, 2 nine-clawed divine dragons appeared in the sky. The 9-clawed divine dragons slithered and pounced toward the other party. The 2 nine-clawed divine dragons had 18 claws in total. They tore through the air with astonishing power. The burly man's expression changed drastically. His palm turned pitch black as he continued to slash out to clash with the 9-clawed divine dragon's claws. Boom, boom, boom. Terrifying collisions continued to ring out. In an instant, they had exchanged dozens of blows. The burly man's expression changed drastically as he retreated. Blood spurted from his mouth as he was severely injured. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, even if he did not transform into the ancient god body, the power of the battle formula would be terrifying. It was not something that the other party could withstand. Roar! The 2 nine-clawed divine dragons roared and continued to pounce at each other. Their dragon claws tore down and tore each other into pieces. How is that possible? Lu Ming had killed 2 experts in a row. The others were finally shocked. They exclaimed one after another, their faces full of disbelief. At first, they thought that Lu Ming was only at true god level and did not take him seriously at all. At this moment, Lu Ming's unbelievable combat strength made them extremely frightened. Good. The seductive woman and the others were also at a loss for words at first, but they immediately revealed ecstatic expressions. Lu Ming actually had such strong combat abilities. They were saved. Kill! Lu Ming changed his direction and shouted. Another 9-clawed divine dragon appeared in the sky. A total of 3 9-clawed divine dragons pounced on the others. At the same time, Lu Ming waved his long spear and cast the 3 apocalyptic strikes at another person. The crescent-shaped spear light struck down and a 4th-level heavenly god expert was split into 2. Then, the 3 9-clawed divine dragons joined forces and killed the other 4th-level heavenly god. It was a complete suppression. Go, quickly leave. The others were shocked and retreated in all directions. Lu Ming rushed forward and killed 2 more people. He did not continue to pursue them. Soon, those people disappeared into the vast mountains. The seductive woman and the rest looked at Lu Ming with eyes full of shock and horror. They knew that they had met a peerless genius. Lu Ming, thank you for your help just now. I can't thank you enough. The few of them thanked Lu Ming. Lu Ming, you're really amazing. I was wrong about you. I apologize to you. The seductive woman turned her gaze and smiled sweetly. She twisted her slender waist and walked toward Lu Ming. She even threw him flirtatious looks, as if she was trying to seduce him. Lu Ming cast an indifferent glance at the other party. He could not be bothered to say a word and turned to leave. This woman had a snobbish look on her face. Previously, when she saw that Lu Ming's cultivation was only at true god level, she ridiculed him. Now that Lu Ming had revealed his amazing abilities, she immediately came to Lu Ming. It could be said that he was extremely shameless. Brother Lu Ming, where are you going? I'll go with you. The seductive woman quickly followed Lu Ming. Get lost. Lu Ming turned around and shouted coldly. His eyes were sharp and exuded a cold, killing intent. The seductive woman's face turned pale and she stopped in her tracks, not daring to approach. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he turned into a ray of light, leaving the place. This Lu Ming must be from the Qin Heaven 13 clans. He might even be a peerless genius from the 3 overlords. We've been wrong. That's right. People like you have very high standards. You're delusional to think that you can seduce others with your kind. The others looked at the seductive woman with ridicule, making the seductive woman so ashamed that she wanted to bleed. After Lu Ming set out alone, he headed straight into the depths of the desolate mountain range. Along the way, there were more scares than dangers. Not long after, Lu Ming was already halfway into the desolate mountain range. At this moment, Lu Ming noticed that there were people constantly rushing in one direction. Lu Ming's gaze flickered and he followed in that direction. After flying for a while, a lake appeared in front of them. Many people were gathered around the lake. Everyone was staring at the lake. Could it be that the heart of desolation is here? Lu Ming pondered. Voila! The water in the lake churned and the waves rose to the sky, creating thousands of waves. Then, a shocking scene appeared. A violent explosion suddenly erupted from the bottom of the lake, blasting the water in the entire lake into the sky. The lake water splashed everywhere, revealing a dark cave below. Boom, boom, boom. Tentacles suddenly reached out from the bottom of the cave. However, these tentacles weren't the tentacles of a living being. They were made of energy. After they were waved, they were like paths that paved the sky. There were a total of 81 fish. This is the path of vital chi, and the heart of desolation is inside. Only by stepping on the path of vital chi can one enter the cave and obtain the heart of desolation. Someone shouted, "The heart of desolation is mine, let's go." Immediately, some people rushed towards the path of origin energy and landed steadily on it. Why can't I step on it?" he asked. "I can't either." "I understand now. A Yuan Qi path can only accommodate one person. Once one person steps on it, the other person can't go up." Someone saw through the trick. Once one person in front of them stepped onto the path of vital chi, if others wanted to continue, they would be blocked by a powerful force and be stopped outside the path. One path of vital chi could only accommodate one person. There were a total of 81 paths, and only 81 people could enter the cave. However, there were thousands of people here. Out of thousands of people, only 81 people could enter. After thinking this through, everyone's eyes shone with a fiery light and they immediately made their moves. "This path is mine, get lost." Someone exploded and launched a powerful attack at the person who stepped on the road. Although they couldn't enter, there was no obstruction to attack from the outside. Arg! A blood-curdling screech rang out. One of the vital chi paths, a person with insufficient cultivation, was directly killed, and fresh blood splattered onto the vital chi path. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2882 Snatching a Path. A chaotic battle broke out. Thousands of people charged towards the 81 Yuan Qi paths and began a bloody battle. "Get lost, this road is mine." "You're the one who should get lost, die." The heart of desolation was extremely precious. Many people's eyes turned red as they charged towards the 81 paths of vital chi. Blood splattered everywhere, and miserable cries rang out continuously. People were constantly killed. A large number of True God Realm experts died in an instant. The remaining True God Realm experts finally sobered up a little and retreated in fear, withdrawing from the fight. They understood that with their cultivation, they could not compete with the gods at all. Otherwise, they would only die. However, there were still a lot of heavenly god-level figures, and the battle was even more intense. But among them, some people's cultivation was extremely profound, reaching 7th level celestial deity. 7th level celestial deity absolutely belonged to the top existences among these people. Divine power was like a tide. With a punch, a few people were killed. No one could stop it at all. There were more than a dozen of such people, and they directly occupied more than a dozen paths of vital chi. In addition, some 6th level celestial deity existences were also extremely terrifying. They suppressed everyone and also occupied some vital chi paths. The ones with the most competition were some 5th or 4th level heavenly deities. There were many people with such cultivation, more than 81 of them. They knew that they couldn't compete with those 6th or 7th level heavenly deities, so they gathered on the other paths of vital chi and the competition was very intense. Lu Ming did not make a move at first. After a while, he flew toward one of the essence chi paths. This True God Realm brat actually dares to go up. He's really looking for death. You're too greedy, you won't live long. When some True God level figures saw Lu Ming, they mocked him one after another, waiting to watch a good show. Lu Ming's speed was very fast and he had already arrived at the intersection of the path of vitality. A True God Realm kid also came to join in the fun. He's looking for death. A burly man at the celestial deity realm threw a punch at Lu Ming, creating a terrifying whistling sound. Get lost! Lu Ming shouted coldly and activated the fourfold combat power of the battle formula. His long spear vibrated and he lashed out at his opponent. The spear collided with the fist, causing a violent boom. The fist force of the burly man was instantly destroyed. His body trembled violently and he was forced to retreat, spitting out a large mouthful of blood. How is that possible? The others were dumbfounded. In particular, those true god-level people who ridiculed Lu Ming were dumbfounded. This kid, a true god realm, actually has such strong power. Kill him first. An elder shouted and charged at Lu Ming with a violent aura. This person was shockingly a 5th-level celestial deity. Get lost, Lu Ming shouted and stepped forward. With every step he took, a 9-clawed divine dragon would appear above his head. After 3 steps, 3 9-clawed divine dragons had appeared above his head. The 3 9-clawed divine dragons roared furiously as they charged toward each other. At the same time, 9 ice chains appeared on Lu Ming's body and wrapped around his opponent, emitting a shocking cold air. Before he transformed into the ancient god body, Lu Ming had to use all his strength to fight against a 5th-level celestial god. 3 apocalyptic strikes, moon cutting. He held the spear with both hands and struck out 3 times. 3 crescent-shaped spear lights slashed toward the other party. Boom, boom, boom. The 2 of them collided and fought fiercely. For a time, it was difficult to separate. However, the others took the opportunity to rush toward the path of vital chi. Kid, I'm done fighting with you. After exchanging a blow with Lu Ming, the elder retreated and charged towards a path of vital chi. Lu Ming followed suit and engaged in a chaotic battle with the others. On this path, there were 3 5th-level celestial deities and 4 4th-level celestial deities. Including Lu Ming, 8 people were engaged in an intense battle. Those below the 4th-level celestial deity realm did not have much competition power at all and were unable to join the battle. The 8 people's battle royale turned into a chaotic pot of porridge. A few 4th-level celestial deity could still hold on a few times at the start, but very soon they could not hold on anymore. One of them was struck in a vital part by a 5th-level celestial deity powerhouse and died on the spot. Moon slaying. Lu Ming's attack also severely injured a 4th-level celestial deity. The remaining 4th-level celestial deities retreated with grave expressions. There were only 3 4th-level celestial deities left on this path. Including Lu Ming, they were still fighting. Lu Ming had no intention of using the ancient god body. The ancient god body was his trump card and he could not use it easily. After all, there would be even more terrifying competition after he passed through this path of vitality. If they really encountered the heart of desolation, a bloody battle would be inevitable. Lu Ming only cast various divine skills, as well as 2 secret skills, the ice chain and the divine dragon materialization technique, to fight with the enemy. Such a huge battle consumed a lot of their divine power. After hundreds of moves, the divine power of the others was almost exhausted. However, Lu Ming was still full of energy. Lu Ming began to gain the upper hand. And at this time, those 7th-level and 6th-level celestial deities already entered the depths of the cave. The other 3 were getting anxious. This kid is too strange. He has the true god realm cultivation base, but he has such thick god power. Why don't the 3 of us join hands to defeat him? Then we can decide the winner. What do you think? The other 3 5th-level heavenly gods planned to join forces to deal with Lu Ming first. The 3 of them had the same intention and they hit it off. The 3 of them immediately joined forces and attacked Lu Ming. I originally wanted to keep a trump card, but I'll fulfill your wish now. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. Then, his body expanded rapidly. He began to cast the ancient god tactic and transformed into the ancient god body. However, Lu Ming did not use the ancient god tactic with all his might, nor did he transform into a green-armored ancient god. He had only transformed into the 2nd level, the orange-armored ancient god. He was only about 30 meters tall. This way, he could save a lot of physical strength. Even after transforming into an orange-armored ancient god, Lu Ming's strength had increased by a large margin. He waved his long spear and sent a 5th-level celestial deity elder flying. Kill! Lu Ming strode forward and attacked the elder. Violent attacks poured down on the elder like a storm. How is that possible? The old man was shocked and tried his best to resist, but he could not stop Lu Ming. After barely blocking, he was killed by Lu Ming with one shot. Then, Lu Ming charged at the other 2 people. The other 2 people were shocked. They did not dare to stop Lu Ming and retreated far away. Lu Ming landed on the path of vital qi and strode forward. No one stopped him. Isn't he a little too strong? Is he still at the True God realm? Those True God realm existences in the distance were all dumbfounded, unable to react for a moment. Some people were extremely dejected. They were all at True God level, but the gap between them and Lu Ming was too great. They did not know whether they were too useless or Lu Ming was too abnormal. Lu Ming could not be bothered with these people's thoughts. He ran quickly and followed the path of the vital qi deep into the cave. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2884 Vital Energy. Day and night after Lu Ming ran on the path of vitality for a while, he used the ancient god tactic to shrink his body and return to his normal form. And NBSP maintaining the ancient god body was extremely energy draining, and he would probably need to conserve his energy in the upcoming battle. He did not know where the path of vital qi extended from. Lu Ming followed the path of vital qi and walked for thousands of miles before he finally reached the end. In front of him, a huge bubble was floating in the dark void. Tentacles extended from the bubble. These tentacles were the 81 yuan qi paths under their feet. Lu Ming's gaze was instantly attracted by something in the middle of the bubble. It was a crystal the size of a heart, emitting a brilliant light. The Heart of Desolation. Lu Ming knew that this was the Heart of Desolation. However, no one was fighting for it at the moment. Those who had entered earlier than Lu Ming were all standing at the end of the path of vital qi, looking at the Heart of Desolation with greed. These people shouldn't be able to enter. Lu Ming pondered and did not act rashly. However, before Lu Ming moved, the others did. An old woman who had entered at about the same time as Lu Ming had a glint in her eyes. She strode forward and pounced on the bubble, wanting to rush into the bubble and grab the Heart of Desolation in her hand. The others sneered as they watched. Bang! The old woman crashed into the bubble and crashed into it. With a scream, the old woman's body was pushed back, and her face was swollen, but her injuries were not serious. Stop dreaming. We can't enter this bubble now. One of them sneered. Why didn't you remind me just now? The old woman stared at the man with a dark expression. Who do you think you are? Why should I remind you? The man sneered. You, the old woman gritted her teeth. However, her cultivation level was not as high as the other parties, so she did not dare to say anything. What should we do? Are you just going to watch the Heart of Desolation in front of you and not get it? Someone said with a frown. The Heart of Desolation has appeared before. I've read about it in an ancient book. At this moment, a white-haired old man spoke. You've seen the records, so do you know how to get the Heart of Desolation? Someone's eyes lit up as he looked at the white-haired old man. I do know, so there's no harm in telling you. The white-haired elder smiled faintly. The balloon outside the Heart of Desolation is the vital qi day and night formed by powerful energy. The vital qi day and night will extend into 81 vital qi paths. Each time, only 81 people can follow the vital qi paths to come to the center. That's why I'm saying that there's only a way to get the Heart of Desolation when all 81 paths of vital qi have been stepped on by living beings. According to what you're saying, when all 81 paths of vital qi are occupied, this bubble, which is vital qi, will dissipate? Someone asked. In your dreams. Let me tell you, it's not possible to obtain the Heart of Desolation just because there's someone on all 81 paths of vital qi. It's not that easy to break through the vital qi day and night. You still need some luck. The white-haired old man said. What luck do you need? Old man, can't you just say everything in one go? Someone said impatiently. What's the hurry? Aren't there still many paths of vital chi that no one has yet to reach? The white-haired old man replied indifferently, then slowly said, if you want to break through the vital chi morning and evening, everyone has to join forces. Everyone on the 81 paths of vital chi has to join forces and inject their divine power into the vital chi morning and evening to activate the vital chi pillars. Only by activating 999 vital chi pillars can you break through the vital chi morning and evening. So it's that simple. I'll go first. A burly middle-aged man took the first step forward and arrived at the vital chi morning and evening. He placed his palm against the vital chi morning and evening, and rolling divine power continuously poured into the vital chi morning and evening. Buzz. The vital chi trembled slightly, and then a certain part of the body trembled more and more violently. Finally, a pillar of vital chi flew out. It was 100 meters long, like a long snake dancing in the air. Again! The middle-aged man roared and continued to pour in divine power. His vital chi vibrated day and night, and then 2 more pillars of vital chi flew out. There were a total of 3 pillars of vital chi, but there was no 4th pillar of vital chi. Come out, come out! The middle-aged man roared angrily and continued to pour in Shen power. However, his yuan chi did not move at all. There was no reaction at all. So few, only 3? Many people looked at each other. That middle-aged burly man had a full 6th-level celestial deity cultivation, but he could only activate 3 pillars of essence chi, making many people's hearts sink. To open the day and night vitality, 999 pillars of vitality were required. There were only 81 of them. According to this ratio, it was impossible to open the day and night vitality. The burly man himself was so ashamed that his face turned red. I'll do it. Following that, another middle-aged woman stepped forward and injected her divine power into the vital chi. This person was also a 6th-level heavenly deity, but she could only activate 3 pillars of vital chi with all her might. This made many people's faces even uglier. Following that, a 7th-level celestial deity existence stepped forward. But the situation was not much better either. He could only stimulate 5 essence chi pillars. Everyone looked at each other. According to this ratio, even if all 81 of them went forward, the yuan chi pillars they activated would not exceed 300. It was impossible to open the yuan chi morning and evening. As expected. As far as I know, although the number of yuan chi pillars activated is somewhat related to cultivation, it is more related to talent. The higher the talent, the more yuan chi pillars activated. In the past, every time the heart of desolation appeared, people began to gather in the desolate mountains. Very few people could get it because they couldn't open the yuan chi morning and night. Only after the news spread, the geniuses of all the major forces gathered together and joined forces, could they open the yuan chi morning and night. The white-haired old man from before sighed. When the heavens' favorites from the big families and sects arrive, we won't be able to get anything. No matter what, we have to try. Next, let me do it. An old woman was unwilling to give up. She stepped forward and injected her Shun power into the vital chi of day and night. This old woman was the strongest and had activated 6 pillars of yuan chi, but it was like a cup of water on a burning cart of firewood. The others were also unwilling to give up. They all stepped forward and poured in their divine power. One by one, pillars of vital chi flew out like long snakes dancing. However, some 5th-level celestial deity existences activated even fewer pillars of essence chi. Some had 2, and some even only had 1. Not long after, out of the 81 people, 80 of them had already made their move. Lu Ming was the only one who had not made his move. 80 people added up to only 251. He was a full 748 fish away from 999. Chapter 2884. One person. Everyone's faces turned ugly. Sigh. It still doesn't work. Only 251. The difference is too great. We have no fate with the heart of desolation. I guess only many heaven's favorites can open the Yuan Qi day to day. Many people sighed. Some people glanced at Lu Ming and ignored him. Lu Ming was the only one who had not made a move. However, the crowd had already lost all hope. It was already a miracle that Lu Ming, a true god-level person, could make it this far. It would be considered good if he could activate even one pillar of primordial qi. Even if Lu Ming was young and had good talent, there was not a glimmer of hope for the remaining 700 or so. Forget it. Someone shook his head, withdrew his divine power, and retreated a dozen steps. Following that, the others shook their heads, retracted their divine power, and retreated. The pillars of vital qi also disappeared. However, no one left because they were somewhat unwilling. This is interesting. I wonder how many pillars of vital qi I can trigger if I go forward? Lu Ming pondered in his heart and revealed a trace of interest. He then stepped forward. The moment Lu Ming moved, many people's gazes turned to him. This kid still wants to go up. We've already failed and he still wants to go up. Is he an idiot? But speaking of which, it's not easy for this kid to come here with his true god realm cultivation. He might be a genius. No matter how much of a genius he is, how many pillars of vitality can he activate? 10, 20, even if he can activate 100, it won't help. That's right. Guess how many Yuan Qi pillars this kid can activate? How many? He's so young, yet he's able to reach this stage with such cultivation. His talent is definitely not weak. I'm guessing he can activate at least 10 Yuan Qi pillars. 10 maybe more. I'm guessing between 20 and 30. 20 to 30? That's too much. We only have 6 at most. The crowd discussed animatedly and began to guess how many pillars of vital qi Lu Ming would be able to activate. As for Lu Ming, he had already walked to the bottom of the pillar of vital qi. He stretched out his palm and placed it on the vital qi morning and evening. His divine power slowly surged into the vital qi morning and evening. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. The vital qi of day and night suddenly shook violently. Then pillars of vital qi formed and danced in the air. 36 lines. The moment Lu Ming infused his divine power, he activated 36 pillars of vital qi. So many? The others were shocked. Just now, some people guessed that Lu Ming would be able to trigger between 20 to 30 veins. Some people felt that they had guessed too much and it would be difficult for Lu Ming to do it. He did not expect that Lu Ming would be able to activate 36 pillars of vital qi in an instant. However, this was not the end. Following that, the vital qi trembled even more violently, creating a loud rumbling sound like a huge wave. Wah wah wah. As the vital qi continued to flow, more pillars of vital qi burst out. This time, there were a total of 360 pillars. In addition to the previous 36, there were a total of 396. CSISI. The crowd gasped. Everyone's eyes were about to pop out, and they were speechless. 396 pillars. Everyone looked at the 390 pillars of vital qi dancing in the air and thought they were dreaming. My God, there are 396 of them. How is this possible? How is this possible? How can he trigger so many Yuan Qi pillars? Unbelievable, monstrous, monstrous. This man is a peerless genius. If 3 people like him came, they would be able to break through the Yuan Qi morning and evening. Some people shouted in shock. The number of Yuan Qi pillars that Lu Ming had activated alone was more than the number of Yuan Qi pillars that the 80 of them had activated together. However, their shock was far from over. Thump thump thump. At that moment, Lu Ming's ancient god heart started to thump loudly. Waves of ancient god aura flowed into Lu Ming's palm and into his vital qi. Buzz, buzz, and NBSP whoosh. The vital qi in the sky began to vibrate again. Then pillars of vital qi flew out. This time, more than 300 Yuan Qi pillars were formed. In total, there were 700 of them. Also, the others were completely dumbfounded. They were completely stunned. 700, a total of 700. In history, the most powerful genius had only triggered slightly more than 100 blood veins. How is it possible that Lu Ming had triggered 700 blood veins? How could there be such a powerful heaven's favorite in the world? The other 80 people thought that they had seen the world, but at this moment, they all felt like country bumpkins, people who had come from a poor and remote place and had not seen the world. 700, this should be the limit. The white-haired old man from before swallowed hard. His eyes were wide open, and his heart was thumping. However, the next moment he almost fell to the ground. That was because the vibration of the vital qi had not stopped. Instead, it was vibrating even more violently. Could it be? Could it be that it can activate a pillar of vital qi? Some people said in a hoarse voice. 700 is not enough. Let's try the battle formula. A glint flashed across Lu Ming's eyes. He then started to activate the battle character formula. Lu Ming's comprehension of the battle formula was getting more and more profound. Now, he had a 50% success rate of activating the battle formula and multiplying his combat power by 4. Lu Ming's body exuded a powerful fighting spirit. Waves of powerful energy burst out from his body. Boom, boom, boom. The vital qi shook even more violently, and then pillars of vital qi rushed out. This time, a few hundred yuan qi pillars rushed out, filling the sky with yuan qi pillars. The number of yuan qi pillars had reached 999. The number of vital qi pillars required to open vital qi day and night was 999. Heavens! He alone has activated 999 pillars of vital qi. This is too shocking. This is unbelievable. The crowd was almost scared to death. At this moment, the vital qi trembled violently, rolling up a wave of vital qi that filled the sky. A terrifying roar was heard, and cracks appeared on the vital qi. It's about to open, the vital energy is about to open. The heart of desolation is about to be born. Many people shouted, their eyes burning with passion. This time, it was really beyond everyone's expectations. They originally thought that it was impossible to open the yuan qi at this time. They had to wait until the news spread out and the geniuses of the major forces of the Qin Heaven Star region gathered before they could open it. They never thought that they could open it now. Aha, the heart of desolation is destined to be mine. A 7th-level celestial deity expert roared loudly in his heart, his eyes burning. Although Lu Ming had activated 999 pillars of vital qi, in his opinion, Lu Ming was only talented. His cultivation and combat strength were nothing in his eyes. Chapter 2886 Strength revealed actually, not only did this 7th-level celestial deity expert think so, the others also thought so. They had to admit that Lu Ming's talent was so high that it was unheard of. However, Lu Ming's cultivation base was only at true god level after all. Having high talent did not mean that he was powerful. They did not take him seriously at all. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the chaotic heart of the vital qi, waiting for the moment the vital qi would collapse. Boom. Finally, the vital qi exploded with a loud bang, turning into endless vital qi and dissipating into the air. The heart of desolation is mine. A 7th-level celestial deity powerhouse gave a loud roar and pounced over towards the heart of desolation. Get lost, the heart of desolation is mine. Kill! The rest of the people roared and pounced on the heart of desolation with blood-red eyes. The lowest cultivation level of those who could make it this far was at least at the 5th level of the heavenly deity realm. All of them had astonishing battle prowess, and there was a total of 80 of them. They pounced toward the heart of chaos, and a chaotic battle began. Boom, boom, boom. Everyone was engaged in an intense battle. All 80 of them wanted the heart of desolation, but the moment anyone got close to it, they would be attacked by the others. As soon as the battle began, some people had already fallen and were killed here. A few miserable cries sounded out. A few 5th-level celestial deity existences were killed. However, no one retreated. They continued to attack the heart of desolation. The heart of desolation was something that even the divine kings would be tempted to fight for. It was extremely valuable. One could imagine how ordinary cultivators would be able to resist such temptation. Everyone had neglected Lu Ming. No one thought that Lu Ming was a threat. Lu Ming stood at the side with a smile and retracted his divine power. He did not make a move and just watched the tigers fight while he reaped the benefits. The battle was getting more and more intense. Some of the weaker ones were killed and killed. Finally, some people were scared and retreated out of the battlefield. Only a few 6th and 7th level celestial deities were still fighting and competing. However, no one was able to get close to the Heart of Desolation. This battle went on for half a day, but no one had the desire to achieve Tao. In the end, the killing stopped. The strongest group of experts stopped around the Heart of Desolation, facing each other and gasping for breath. It was obvious that they had used up a lot of energy. After this battle, there were only about 40 people left out of the original 80. Nearly half of them had fallen here. The remaining people stood in a stalemate and stared at each other. For a moment, no one dared to make the first move. They all knew that whoever made the first move would be surrounded and attacked by the others. No one could guarantee that they would be able to escape unscathed when they were surrounded by others. It's almost time. Lu Ming mumbled and stepped forward. Step by step, he walked towards the Heart of Desolation. What is this kid trying to do? Many people's eyes were focused on Lu Ming. Some of them had cold killing intent in their eyes. Could it be that this brat wants to seize the Heart of Desolation? You're really looking for death. Some people's eyes glowed with a cold light. Brats, stop! Someone shouted. However, Lu Ming did not stop and continued to move forward. He could not be bothered with that person. Brat, you're looking for death. The man roared and slashed at Lu Ming. This person had the cultivation of a 6th-level celestial deity, but in the great battle just now, this person was already injured. Furthermore, his divine power was severely exhausted, and his combat strength was weakened a lot. He was even inferior to a 5th-level celestial deity under normal circumstances. Get lost! Lu Ming shouted and attacked with all his might, whipping his spear at the man. Boom! The two of them exchanged a blow, resulting in a loud explosion. Lu Ming's figure only swayed a little, while his opponent's body trembled violently and he retreated continuously. This kid. Many people's eyes focused and revealed looks of surprise. Lu Ming's combat strength had exceeded their expectations. Although that person's combat strength was much weaker, he was still not to be underestimated. On the other hand, Lu Ming's cultivation was only at true god level, but he could actually force such an expert to retreat. No wonder you could reach this place. Many people had the same thought. Lu Ming continued to rush towards the Heart of Desolation after forcing the person back. Kid, you have some strength, but it's not enough. An old woman shouted coldly. She stretched out her shriveled palm and clawed at Lu Ming. One of the shriveled claws grew rapidly and emitted a disgusting smell as it clawed at Lu Ming. This old woman had a 7th-level celestial deity cultivation. Previously, she stimulated 6 essence chi pillars. Her strength was extremely shocking. Even though she had used up a lot of her divine power, her power was still terrifying. However, Lu Ming was not afraid at all. Ancient God Body. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He used the ancient god tactic and his body grew rapidly. This time, Lu Ming did not hold back. He used his full strength. He turned into a 200-meter-tall green-armored ancient god and let out an ancient god's roar. With a loud roar, Lu Ming thrust his spear forward. The old woman's palm was pierced by Lu Ming. She let out a sharp scream and retracted her claw. Her face was pale and her palm was bleeding. The others were shocked. The old woman's abilities were extremely terrifying. Although she had expended some energy, it was still very terrifying. She was actually injured by Lu Ming's spear. A true God Realm person had such terrifying battle strength? After repelling the old woman, Lu Ming's figure flashed and he rushed toward the Heart of Desolation. He wants to take the Heart of Desolation. Let's attack together and kill this person. The old woman shouted. A powerful aura erupted from her body and she charged toward Lu Ming. At the same time, the other powerhouses also charged toward Lu Ming. There were more than 10 7th-level heavenly deities and many 6th-level heavenly deities. With so many people attacking together, The power was astonishing. "You're looking for death? Go!" Lu Ming shouted coldly. A layer of scarlet golden armor appeared on his huge body. Then, 9 ice chains flew out and wrapped around his body. Lu Ming first set up layers of defense and then charged toward the old woman. Boom! Lu Ming thrust his spear forward. A ray of spear light pierced towards the old woman as if it was a destructive force. If Lu Ming were to go all out now, he could suppress the Supreme Holy Sun. Although the Supreme Holy Sun's cultivation base was only at the 6th level of the celestial deity realm, his combat strength was strong enough to kill a 7th level celestial deity. He was probably even stronger than the old woman. Since Lu Ming could suppress the Supreme Holy Sun, it was naturally not a problem for him to deal with the old woman. Moreover, the other party's divine power had been severely depleted. The spear radiance broke the old woman's attack. The old woman screamed and spat out a mouthful of blood as she retreated rapidly. At this moment, the other people's attacks also landed on Lu Ming. The 9 ice chains and the scarlet gold armor shook a few times before they exploded and landed on the green scales on Lu Ming's body. However, the green scales had amazing defense and successfully blocked the attacks from the others. Chapter 2886 Success. The green scales on the ancient god body had an extremely strong defense. Although the many experts had destroyed Lu Ming's ice chains and 9-layered crimson gold armor, they could not break through the defense of the green scales. Although some of the scales were broken and blood seeped out of his body, Lu Ming managed to block the attack. Lu Ming had a rough idea of his own defense. "Kill!" Lu Ming shouted. He no longer cared about his own defense. He waved his long spear and charged at the old woman. The old woman was already severely injured by Lu Ming and did not have the strength to fight back at all. At this moment, she retreated frantically in fear and shouted, "Save me, save me." However, Lu Ming had resisted the other people's attacks and was charging toward him. The others wanted to save him, but they were too late. Bang! The long spear thrust out, and a huge spear light crushed toward the old woman. In front of the huge spear light, the old woman's body was as small as an ant. She exploded and turned into ashes. A 7th-level celestial deity powerhouse was killed by Lu Ming just like that. After killing the old woman, Lu Ming changed the direction of his spear and attacked the others. In the process of attacking the others, Lu Ming's body kept flashing with various kinds of lights. He had 9 layers of crimson gold armor, ice chains, and even 3 divine dragons. Lu Ming did not use these godly skills and secret skills to attack. Instead, he used them for defense. Boom, boom, boom. One attack after another landed on Lu Ming's body. His body trembled. The ice chains, the 9-layer crimson gold armor, and the divine dragon phenomenon all crumbled. However, in this way, the power of the attacks that really landed on Lu Ming's body was reduced by a lot. Lu Ming had blocked all of them. Lu Ming looked like he was covered in blood, but his vital parts were not injured. Lu Ming blocked the attacks of the others, but the others could not block Lu Ming's attacks. Lu Ming specifically targeted a 7th-level celestial deity and launched a fierce attack. Very soon, this person followed in the old woman's footsteps and was killed by Lu Ming. After killing 2 7th-level celestial deity existences in a row, the others were finally a little afraid. Their eyes were filled with fear. Some of them even slowed down their attacks, planning to escape if something went wrong. Lu Ming, on the other hand, became more and more courageous as the battle progressed. His fighting spirit soared. A terrifying spear radiance was continuously thrust and swept out. Not long after, 2 more people were killed. Not good. Retreat. Some of them were terrified. Seeing Lu Ming coming, they did not dare to fight back and retreated, afraid that Lu Ming would target them. Buzz. Lu Ming did not chase after him. With a sway of his body, he rushed directly towards the heart of desolation. When he was close to the heart of desolation, no one was competing with him. Lu Ming grabbed the heart of desolation and kept it in his storage ring. Damn it, my chaotic heart. Many people were roaring in their hearts. They watched helplessly as Lu Ming kept the heart of desolation. They were extremely envious, but no one dared to step forward to stop him. Lu Ming's combat strength was too strong. The main thing was that his defense was too strong. They could not break through Lu Ming's defense and could not give him a fatal blow. If it was another expert who had similar attack power as Lu Ming but did not have such a strong defense, he would definitely not be a match for so many of them. He would be killed by their joint attack. It was a pity that after Lu Ming transformed into the ancient god's body, his defense was too strong. He could withstand their attacks and then chase after one person. This made them frightened. The heart of desolation, I've finally gotten it. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled into a smile. He then rushed in the direction he came from. No one stopped Lu Ming wherever he went. Although the heart of desolation was precious, it was far less valuable than his own life. Lu Ming left the place unimpeded and went outside. Outside, many people cast suspicious glances at Lu Ming. You're out? What was going on inside? Did anyone get the heart of desolation? You seem to be heavily injured. You must have been seriously injured and withdrawn from the competition, right? Many people saw that Lu Ming was the first one to come out and immediately started asking questions. That's right. They're fighting for the heart of desolation and there's a great battle going on inside. My cultivation base is too weak and I can't defeat them. I'm lucky to have survived, Lu Ming said. Everyone nodded and believed that Lu Ming was telling the truth. No one suspected that Lu Ming had obtained the heart of desolation. Therefore, no one suspected Lu Ming. He left the place without any obstacles and headed out of the desolate mountain range. Lu Ming, you're quite lucky. You didn't get the desolate grass, but you got the heart of desolation. If you use the heart of desolation to refine a formation disc, its power will be even more astonishing. At that time, you'll have a higher chance of dealing with that dragon boat. In his sea of consciousness, the bone demon laughed heartily, sighing at Lu Ming's luck. Lu Ming was very happy. Now that he had found all the things that the bone demon had mentioned, he could return to Kongxian sect and refine the array disc. If the dragon boat's mountain wanted to sacrifice him to break the rising dragon formation, it wouldn't be that easy. Not long after, Lu Ming left the mountains of desolation. After spending some time, he returned to the Kongxian sect. After returning to Kongxian sect, Lu Ming went to look for Ouyang Qingxiang. Lu Ming, you want to see my grandfather? Ouyang Xiangxiang asked in surprise. Yes, I have something that I would like to ask Senior Yu for help. Lu Ming nodded. The disc array that Bone Demon had mentioned was extremely profound. With Lu Ming's current cultivation base, he could not refine it at all. Only a God King could refine it completely and unleash its full power. However, it was easier said than done to get a God King to help. Therefore, Lu Ming immediately thought of Ouyang Qingxiang's grandfather, Wuxia. Lu Ming had helped Ouyang Qingxiang to become the Zongzi of the Kongxian sect. There was no reason for Wuxia to reject Lu Ming. I'm asking my grandfather for help. It's a small matter. Come with me. Ouyang Qingxiang nodded, then brought Lu Ming to Wuxia's cultivation place. When they arrived at Wuxia's cultivation place, Lu Ming waited outside while Ouyang Xiangxiang went in to look for Wuxia. Not long after, Ouyang Xiangxiang came out with a smile on her face. Lu Ming, my grandfather just came out of seclusion. I'll bring you to see him. Lu Ming nodded and followed Ouyang Qingxiang to a large hall where he met Wuxia. Junior Lu Ming greets Senior Yu. Lu Ming cupped his fists and saluted. After all, the other party was a Divine King expert, a top-notch expert from the Qin Heaven Star Zone. He still had to show some courtesy. Lu Ming, you're welcome. Sit. Wuxia smiled and invited Lu Ming to take a seat. Lu Ming had helped Ouyang Xiangxiang obtain the Zongzi position, and Wuxia's impression of Lu Ming was extremely good. The more he looked at Lu Ming, the more he liked him. He was even thinking about how to match Lu Ming and Ouyang Xiangxiang together. This way, Ouyang Xiangxiang's position in the Kongxian sect would be as stable as Mount Tai in the future. Therefore, he was naturally very polite to Lu Ming. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang took their seats and someone came to make tea. Chapter 2887 Formation plate in hand. Wuxia picked up the teacup and took a sip. Then, his gaze fell on Lu Ming and he asked, I heard from Qingxiang that you have something you need my help with? Yes, Senior. Junior wants to refine a type of formation disc, but Junior's cultivation level is too low, so Junior can't refine it. Only God King experts can refine it, so Junior thought of Senior. Lu Ming did not hide anything and told him his purpose directly. What formation plate? It even requires a God King to refine it? Wuxia was also interested. Senior, please take a look. Lu Ming took out a jade talisman and with a wave of his hand, the jade talisman flew towards Wuxia. Wuxia took it and scanned it with his spiritual sense, reading the contents of the talisman. After a while, Wuxia revealed an expression of surprise and said, What a profound formation plate. The method of making such a formation plate is truly unheard of. It's amazing. No wonder you can't make it with your cultivation base. Hee, don't you know who gave you the array disc? How can the array disc given by this lord be bad? The Bone Devil's proud voice sounded. Senior, this is something this junior obtained by chance while exploring some ancient ruins. May I ask if Senior is able to refine it? Lu Ming asked. This old man can refine it, but the materials needed to refine this array disc are quite rare. Even this old man can't gather them in a short time. Wuxia said. Senior, the materials are not a problem, this junior has already gathered them. After Lu Ming finished speaking, he took out the materials needed to refine the array disc one by one. The Heart of Desolation? Lu Ming, you actually have the Heart of Desolation? When he saw Lu Ming take out the Heart of Desolation, even Wuxia was shocked. Lu Ming's weight in his heart increased even more. This junior got this by luck. Lu Ming said humbly. Wuxia smiled. He knew that Lu Ming was being humble. If he could get it if he was lucky, why couldn't others get it? Lu Ming, since the materials are ready, I can start refining now. However, it will take a few months to complete the refining. They'll send someone to inform you when I'm done. Wuxia said. Many thanks, Senior. Senior, Junior has a request. I hope that Senior will not tell anyone else about the formation plate, especially the other God Kings. Lu Ming said. If news of this formation plate were to spread to Dragon Boat Mountain or if Dragon Boat Mountain were to see it, it would most likely cause Dragon Boat Mountain to be on guard. Wuxia looked at Lu Ming in surprise. He did not understand why Lu Ming did not dare to let the other God Kings know about this. However, he did not probe further and nodded. Don't worry, I won't let a second person know. Many thanks, Senior. Lu Ming cupped his fists in thanks and left the place with Ouyang Qingxiang. It could be refined in a few months' time, and there was enough time. Dragon Boat's Mountain had given Lu Ming 10 years. After returning to his residence, Lu Ming cultivated in peace. In the blink of an eye, a few months had passed. Wuxia had already finished refining the array disc and asked Ouyang Xiangxiang to bring it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief and felt much more confident. This kind of cultivation is too slow. Wanting to break through to the celestial deity realm within 10 years is simply impossible. On this day, Lu Ming ended his cultivation and frowned in deep thought. From peak 9th stage true god to celestial deity realm, there was a huge natural chasm. Wanting to break through was seriously too difficult. 99% of the people were stuck at the peak of true God forever, unable to break through. Only those with extraordinary talent, after a long period of accumulation, or by chance, could break through. Therefore, those who could break through to the heavenly God realm were mostly geniuses who had mastered king-grade divine power. The higher the level of Shen power, the easier it would be to break through. Most of those who controlled ordinary divine power found it difficult to break through to the heavenly God realm. Of course, it was not absolute. There were also those who controlled ordinary divine power who broke through to the heavenly God realm, but they were very few, very few. However, even the heavens' favorites with the highest level of divine power would find it hard to break through to the celestial God realm within 10 years after just breaking through to the peak of stage 9 true God realm, unless they had a great opportunity. Lu Ming frowned. He had no doubt that if he could not break through to the enlightened master level within 10 years, the dragon boats would really attack him. Lu Ming was thinking about what method he could use to quickly make a breakthrough in his cultivation level. At this moment, Lu Ming's heart stirred. He sensed that someone was coming to the courtyard. Lu Ming walked out of the courtyard and saw a white-haired elder standing in the air. "Holy Son Lu Ming." The white-haired old man nodded with a smile. "Elder Lu, why have you come to find me?" Lu Ming asked. Lu Ming recognized this white-haired elder. He was an inner sect elder. The sect master has summoned all the holy sons and holy virgins. He has a mission for you, Elder Lu said. A mission? He even gathered all the holy sons and holy virgins? What is the mission? Lu Ming was puzzled and asked. To be honest, I don't know either. I'm only in charge of passing on the message. Holy Son Lu Ming, follow me. A senior elder will tell you later. Elder Lu said courteously. Then, Lu Ming followed Elder Lu and flew toward the depths of the inner sect. Soon, the two of them arrived at the peak of a mountain. Everyone's here. Lu Ming looked around and saw that the Supreme Saint's son, the Transient Light Saint's son, the Yen Kong Saint's son, the Ji Xia Saint's son, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the Shui Tan Saint were all here. Everyone's gaze fell on Lu Ming when they saw him approaching. Especially the Supreme Holy Son. A cold glint flashed in his eyes, revealing a wisp of killing intent. However, it was only a flash before it was concealed. However, Lu Ming's spiritual senses were very sharp and he could still clearly capture it. You want to kill me? It's best if I don't find an opportunity. A murderous intent flashed across Lu Ming's heart. It was obvious that the Supreme Holy Son had lost to Lu Ming last time and held a grudge against him, wanting to kill him. If there was a chance, Lu Ming would not be soft-hearted and would find a chance to get rid of such a person. His gaze swept past the Supreme Saint's son, the Transient Light Saint's son, and the others before landing on an old man at the very front. Doyen! Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. From the old man's attire, Lu Ming could tell that he was an elder of the Kong Xian sect's Senate, a divine king. Elder Lu landed in front of the Doyen and bowed respectfully. Grand Elder, I've brought Holy Son Lu Ming. And you may leave. The Doyen said indifferently. Then, Elder Lu left respectfully. Only Lu Ming, the holy sons and holy virgins, and the Doyen were left on the mountain peak. You must be very curious about what kind of mission has gathered you all here for, right? The elder smiled. That's right. Grand Elder Fan, may I know why you've gathered all of us at the same time? The Supreme Saint was the first to ask. This time, there's indeed a big matter that requires all of you to join forces. The location will be in Darklight Galaxy. As for the specific matter, don't be in a hurry. Follow me. When we reach Darklight Galaxy, I'll naturally tell you. Let's go. After Elder Fan finished speaking, he headed in the direction of the teleportation array. Everyone could only carry their doubts as they followed Grand Elder Fan and stepped into the teleportation array. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Immortal Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.